Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan, here for the final game of this weekend series between the Michigan Wolverines and the Penn State Nittany Lions. The Wolverines going for the sweep here. I'm Nick Hornberg. Riding shotgun to start with me is Adam Rich. Max Brill will join us later in this broadcast. Adam, the Wolverines have won a few games in a row now, and of course they're going for the sweep today. And Wolverines starting pitcher is Karl Kauffmann going up against Taylor Lehman for the Nittany Lions. I suppose, Adam, last night was a thriller of a game, went 11 innings, ultimately an 8-7 victory by the Wolverines on a walk-off squeeze bunt by Jack Blomgren. Did you see anything in this Penn State team that you didn't on Friday during the 19-5 mauling to start this series?
They were a lot more resilient yesterday. You know, I think on Friday they got down early and their morale just wasn't really there the rest of the game. But yesterday they went down early. It was only one run, but we saw them come back right away. I know they scored off of the error and then the bunt single, but they were still attacking. They didn't get disappointed at the plate or in the field. On the mound, their pitchers kept attacking, and they stayed competitive in that game because of that resiliency that came through yesterday that wasn't really there on Friday.
All right, and as we said, the pitching duel today is Karl Kauffmann, a righty, versus Taylor Lehman, a lefty on the Penn State side. Kauffmann, of course, off to a good start so far. 8 starts, 42 innings pitched, a 4-2 record with an ERA of 3.0. Lehman having a little bit of a rougher go of things. 2-5 record with a 4.5 ERA. Adam, who does this matchup favor in the pitching category?
I'm a really big Karl Kauffmann fan. About 6'2", 200 pounds with a very sturdy build, a very loose delivery, 3/4 arm slot, very whippy arm action. He creates a lot of torque with his shoulder to get his fastball up into the mid-90s. He'll also mix in a curveball that's got pretty good depth for the most part, a little 11-5 action on that, and then he also has pretty good feel for a changeup that he'll have to attack lefties such as Ryan Sloniger with today.
All right, Jordan Bowersox leads off for the Nittany Lions, and looks like he squared up to bunt the first pitch, and it drops in for a ball. The Nittany Lions line up first 4, Bowersox, Sloniger, Kleeman, Hendershot, and the last 5, Robeson, Giovadoni, Krimmer, Goodnight, and Weisenseal. And here's the 1-0 pitch, and swung on and grounded over to Blomgren, who mishandles the ball. And the Nittany Lions will start off this game with a man on base.
And what the Nittany Lions lack in power hitting throughout the lineup, save for maybe Sloniger, they make up for in speed. We saw a lot of speed on the base pass, a lot of aggressiveness from the Nittany Lions, and right there you see it with Bowersox hustling down the line. That ball was really toughly placed over the head of Nelson at third, and then barehanded by Blomgren, who would have had to make an incredible Jeter-esque play in the hole to get Bowersox at first.
All right, and that will go down as a hit. And not an E6.
Yeah, that one's not going to ever be ruled an error. Just tough ball placement, but that's the way the baseball game rolls sometimes.
All right, the first pitch to catcher Ryan Sloniger is low and outside for ball 1.
And getting to the battery today, behind the dish is Jack Salter. He's starting in place of Brock Keener, who has caught a lot of innings this week, and he caught 11 yesterday. And this battery is one that's straight out of Little League, back when these two were first starting to play baseball, and
as the 1-0 pitch is fouled off down the first base line.
And Kauffmann on the mound, his first catcher ever was Jack Salter, so they're getting back to that bond today, and hopefully that should help Kauffmann out.
All right, here's the 1-1 pitch, and almost looked like Sloniger there also squaring around to bunt. Harrison Salter is the only defensive change in the lineup for the Wolverines today, and in the batting order. All other players are the same starters from yesterday. And here is the 2-1 delivery. And swung on and grounded to Akeo Thomas for second base, fires to second, and then over to first, and misplayed there, bouncing ball by Jesse Franklin, but they get the 1 out on a fielder's choice. And Sloniger takes first base, but Bowersox is out.
And then again from Penn State, you know, not that hard of a ball hit by Sloniger, but the speed, even from the catcher position. You see Sloniger hustling down the line. You saw at second base, Bowersox's speed affected Blomgren. He slid hard into the base, and Blomgren just couldn't get off a clean throw.
All right. Now here comes the Nittany Lions' third hitter, Connor Kleeman, the third baseman, 252 hitter. And the pitch is low and outside. Would have been in the dirt, except we don't play on dirt here at Ray Fisher Stadium.
Yeah, we really haven't seen a lot of getting ahead from Kaufman today. If he wants to do better late in this game, he's going to have to attack the zone more middle with the fastball.
1-0 pitch swung on and missed there by Kleeman, and the count's even up at 1-1. Kaufman looks over to first base, takes the signal, and the one pitch is fouled straight into the dirt. Well, turf. And now the count is at 1-2 in favor of Kaufman.
Yeah, and there it is again. When Kaufman attacks the zone, good things are going to happen. He has so much power in his delivery, such a high-volume fastball. He's got good off-speed pitches to mix in, and there's really no point to nibble around these Penn State hitters that don't have the shiniest averages.
All right, here's the 1-2 pitch, and swung on and missed there by Kleeman. He goes down, and up comes the Nittany Lions designated hitter in cleanup, Parker Hendershot, highest average on their team with a .327 average. As we said, defensive lineman for the Wolverines, same as yesterday, aside from Salter behind the plate here with Jesse Franklin at first, Christian Bullock at, Akeo Thomas at second, Blomgren at short, and Blake Nelson at third in the infield. And here's the first pitch, and a called strike one by our home plate umpire, Sal Giacomontonio. And the outfield, Jordan Wogu in left, Jonathan Engelman in center, and Christian Bullock in right. And the 0-1 pitch, just inside, and the count's evened up at 1-1.
And on getting back to that two-strike pitch on the mound from Kaufman, we saw the first flash of that curveball. That can be pretty good at times. You know, sometimes the spin is a little loose and he doesn't quite get through it, but on that pitch there with two strikes, perfect location just below the kneecaps.
All right, the 1-1 delivery. And it is a called strike two on the outside half of the plate there by Giacomontonio. And now Kaufman finds himself out ahead again, 1-2.
And ahead 1-2 here after a good sequence where you've gone fastball, curveball, fastball, curveball. That curveball in the dirt is set up based on that last fastball that Kaufman threw.
And here comes the 1-2. And waved on and missed, another breaking ball down and away. And Hendershot strikes out, and Kaufman, after giving up that first hit, comes out of this inning unscathed.
Yeah, and for Kaufman, coming out of high school, his breaking ball had more of an 11-5 curveball action to it, a little bit of loop out of the hand, but for the most part, as he's developed here, he's really worked in more of a power curve that gets more of a 10-4 break. Doesn't really have true slider action because it's not necessarily that tight coming out of his hand a lot of the time, but that time he got really good action on his pitch. Like I said, he set it up before with the fastball away. Good job getting down in the dirt by the catcher to block that one, smother it, and record the final out of the inning.
And the Wolverines come up for the first time this game, and is the same batting order as yesterday. Akeo Thomas leading off as he has all season. Christian Bullock in the 2 slot, Engelman 3. Then the heart of the order, Jesse Franklin, Blake Nelson, and Jordan Wogu. Cleaning out the order, Miles Lewis, designated hitter in the 7. Harrison Salter, the catcher, in 8. And Jack Blomgren in 9. Reminder, you're listening to WCBN here on WCBN Channel 2. Coverage of Wolverines Penn State. Going into the bottom of the first, the score is still 0-0. And Taylor Lehman, the southpaw for the Nittany Lions on the ground. The senior has had a little bit of a rough season so far. 7 starts, 38 innings pitched, a 2-5 win-loss record, and an ERA of 4.5. However, it should be noted he's giving up an average of 238 as opposed to Kaufman's 268. Adam, what does Lehman need to do to really get into this game?
Well, Lehman, a guy you'd more expect to see on the basketball court, standing at 6'8". He delivers out of a over-the-top delivery. Really comes barreling downhill with his pitches. He mixes in a low 90s fastball. Was actually a 34th round pick by the Marlins in 2014. I really love his delivery. He does such an excellent job hiding the baseball. His delivery is really clean, really repeatable. The only problem is he's more of a 2-pitch guy. He throws a fastball and a breaking ball. And at the college level as a starter, you need 3 pitches to be successful because that third time through the order, all the guys have seen all of your pitches, and you need something else to be able to mix in and keep them off balance. But so far in the season for Lehman, he struggled later through the order because he doesn't have that variability that most guys have when they can throw 3 or even 4 pitches like some of these Michigan Wolverines starters.
And it looks like Lehman has about finished his warm-up. And it looks like K.O. Thomas is about ready to step up into the box. Thomas, a little bit of an interesting split. He has the second lowest average in this lineup with a 252. However, he's one of the highest in on-base percentage, has 385 on-base percentage, perhaps, well, not perhaps, buoyed by a team-leading 27 walks.
Yeah, Thomas this year, after his excellent breakout year last season, getting a lot more breaking balls, but also getting a lot more pitches off the zone, which is surprising out of the leadoff spot. Not that much power, but such a great ability at the plate. As you said, one of the best on-base guys on this team, does a great job drawing walks.
All right, Lehman's first delivery is a called strike 1. And Thomas steps up into the box. Sloniger gives the signal, lines up a little bit outside. Lehman delivers the 0-1 and swung on by Thomas. Line drive. Excellent there. Excellent play there by Nittany Lions third baseman Connor Kleeman. That would have been a line drive into left field for a hit, but Lehman gets his first out.
Excellent swing there for Thomas. You know, Lehman's fastball, well, it does come downhill. It doesn't really get a lot of fade on it. Doesn't throw a tailing fastball, so Thomas was able to square that one up over the middle of the plate. Great swing there, especially for a guy who's been in a slump as of late. And that's a tough result if you're Thomas, but you'll live with that because of the excellent contact he made. It gives you a lot of confidence going forward.
And here's the first pitch to Christian Bullock. Called strike 1 on the outer half of the plate. Bullock, the left-handed hitter, hit a home run yesterday and added another extra base hit before he was substituted out for Joe Pace late in the game. And here's the 0-1 delivery, and low and outside, and the count is evened up at 1-1.
Yeah, funny enough, yesterday in the third inning, Bullock actually got hit by a curveball, and for some reason he took a lot of offense to it, threw his bat, stared down the pitcher, and I guess it came around to help him out the next at-bat as he went yard, as you said, so maybe he'll keep that fire today.
Here's the 1-1 delivery, and Bullock check swing, and Sal Giacomantonio ruled that he did go around, no appeal to third base, and it is now 1-2.
Yeah, really interesting on that one. You know, I did think he went around from up here, and I guess the umpire has, for the most part, the same angle as us, but it can never hurt to check over to third, especially when you have that great angle over there.
Harry Greer, the home plate umpire yesterday, now stationed at third base today. Giacomantonio, of course, at first base yesterday, and the 1-2 delivery is taken low and in the turf, and the count's evened up at 2-2.
Yeah, Lehman so far throwing a pretty tight 10-4 breaking ball. Looks a lot more like a slider, not a lot of loop out of the hand. It's got a chance to be very effective, especially against these lefties, when he can start the baseball behind their heads and then drop it over into the middle of the zone for a strike.
Here's the 2-2, and taken outside, and the count has been run full by Christian Bullock. As we said, Giacomantonio, the home plate umpire, Harry Greer over at third base, Perry Costello at second, and James Mulek at first. And Lehman receives the signal. Sloniger seems to line up just inside, and here's the payoff pitch, swung on by Bullock, and it looks like it's going to be fouled just off the stands, and there's a bunch of Little League players there in the stands running for that ball. And the count and the at-bat continues. Now 6 pitches have been thrown to Bullock. And here comes the payoff pitch. And it is taken low, and the Wolverines have their first base runner, Christian Bullock, working a 7-pitch walk.
Yeah, and getting back to the idea of Lehman not having that third pitch, this is where it hurts as well when you get deep into a count and a guy's seen 3 or 4 of both your fastball and your slider. You don't have anything else to really mix in there, and then with Lehman, for the most part, he likes to attack his fastball glove side. Doesn't do such a great job getting it to his arm side, tends to pull off a little bit and yank through his delivery. So that also takes away pitches from your arsenal if you can't spot to one side of the plate very well.
All right, here comes the Wolverines' third hitter, Jonathan Engelman, having the highest average on the team, 353, and second on the team in home runs with 5. And here's the first pitch, and it is a called strike 1. And Christian Bullock, obviously not to be forgotten there on the base pass, 12 for 15 stolen base attempts. And Lehman tries a pickoff move. Actually, nearly got him right there, but James Mulek rules that Bullock was able to get back to first base in time.
Yeah, a little bit of a quick pick there from Lehman. Really good move stepping off the rubber. Sometimes runners will fall asleep over at first base because they're looking at your lift leg rather than your back leg.
And here's the pitch. And high and outside, the count evens up at 1-1. And Bullock there looking like he's thinking about jumping. Eric Bakich really this season has been very aggressive with sending his runners, especially his top 3 hitters with Thomas, Bullock, and Engelman when they get on. All of them have double-digit steals. And here's the 1-1, and outside, and Engelman finds himself ahead of the count 2-1.
Yeah, and just like on Penn State's roster, this Michigan Wolverines team has excellent speed up and down the lineup. You see Coach Bakich utilize it throughout the game in key situations. You saw it yesterday, ran the squeeze, and while that is a testament to how well your team can bunt, it's also a testament to how well your team can run the bases.
All right, here's the 2-1 delivery, and it is taken low and inside. And suddenly, Engelman has worked himself to 3 balls and 1 strike.
And just getting back to that squeeze from yesterday, in addition to speed, we talk about how this team is so good at base running. It's so important on the squeeze to wait. It's really easy to get antsy, but if you start running too early, a lot of times the pitcher will intentionally throw at the batter. Although that wouldn't have been too good considering the bases were loaded yesterday.
All right. Here comes the 3-1 delivery, and Bullock runs, and doesn't matter. It is ball 4, and the Wolverines have runners on first and second with freshman and actually possible candidate for Big Ten Freshman of the Year, left-handed hitter, first baseman Jesse Franklin coming up. Leads the team in home runs with 7.
Yeah, and while Franklin's been on a tear as of late, he struggled a little bit yesterday because these Penn State pitchers were attacking him with more and more breaking balls, and he started to get a little antsy because he couldn't expect a fastball at the dish. And throughout the course of the year and as he progresses throughout college, that's going to be the biggest adjustment. When you first come out of high school, the adjustment you have to make is everybody's stuff is better. But when you haven't proven yourself yet, and although Franklin is an incredible talent, at the beginning of the year, he hadn't yet proven himself. So he was getting a lot of fastballs, not many curveballs, and pitchers were just attacking him like they would a lower in the order hitter. But now that Franklin has had such an incredible season and has really showcased his excellent abilities, he's starting to get a lot more curveballs from pitchers, and he's going to have to make another adjustment.
There's a little bit of break in the action there as Penn State pitching coach Josh Newman came out to talk with Lehman a little bit, just calm him down. Obviously runners on first and second, 1 out. Franklin's up. You're right, Franklin struggled really at the end of the game yesterday. I believe he had a pair of strikeouts. However, he did lead off that game with a double. So we'll see if he can recapture that power from early yesterday. All right. Lehman looks back at Bullock at second, and the 0-0 delivery, and swung on and missed. Fastball down in the zone there by Franklin, 0-1. And Lehman, of course, has the advantage here, or has the platoon advantage here, left-handed pitcher up against the left-handed Jesse Franklin. One of only 2 lefties in this Michigan lineup, with Christian Bullock being the other. Lehman looks back at second. Here's the 0-1 delivery. Swung on by Frank. Grounded into right field. Bullock is going to come around, and it's mishandled in right field there by Chris Kramer, and that is going to be a double by Jesse Franklin. Jonathan Engelman moves over to third. Bullock scores, and the Wolverines take a 1-0 lead in this inning.
And an excellent swing by Franklin. Basically the same pitch as the 0-0 that he swung through. Just a good job there, staying through the zone, not trying to roll over and yank the baseball. Drove it through to the 3-4 hole, picked up a single, then an error, got to second base, and drove in a run. And then getting back to the pitching perspective from Penn State, I'm really not sure why they wouldn't have thrown a breaking ball there. Up 0-1 on an excellent hitter with a good slider pitcher on the mound. You can then go and attack with that because you open up the zone once you get ahead 0-1 as a pitcher. I'm really not sure what was going on in the minds of the Penn State coaching staff.
All right, here comes Wolverines' third baseman Blake Nelson hitting in the 5 slot, hitting a .293 average with runners on second and third.
Corner's in, surprisingly.
Lehman delivers, and that is taken low for ball 1. Perhaps Perhaps the corner infielders for the Nittany Lions looking for that bunt. Obviously, Michigan, really both sides, but Michigan especially, a lot of bunting yesterday. Of course, including winning the game on a squeeze. So I wonder if they're looking for another looking for another squeeze play with a runner on third. Of course, Engelman has some speed, 12 for 18 stolen bases on the season. And here's the 1-0 pitch, and taken high for ball 2.
And for Nelson, a new walk-up song today, actually, which is surprising considering the tear he's been on as of late. Figure you wouldn't want to change up anything, especially as a stereotypically superstitious baseball player.
All right. Lehman looks back at second. 2-0 delivery, swung on, grounded towards second baseman Jack Weisenseal, and Seal boots it, throws high, and Engelman scores. Franklin goes over to third, and Nelson is safe at first, and the Wolverines take a 2-0 lead on the defensive miscue there by Weisenseal.
And yesterday, for Penn State, Murphy was playing second base, and he was doing fine with the routine play, but he didn't do a very good job getting into the 3-4 hole. A lot of balls that got past him there, wasn't covering a lot of ground, took pretty bad routes, but here Weisenseal struggling with the routine one that would have gotten Penn State closer to getting out of the inning, but now runners on first and third with the dangerous Jordan Wogu at the plate, who's very confident as of late.
Yes, Jordan Wogu, of course, with an 8th inning double there as Lehman throws to first. With a late game double to, I believe, tie the score, if not take the lead yesterday against Penn State. A .315 average with a .431 on-base percentage leads the Wolverines in that category. And here's the delivery. And called strike one there down in the zone.
Yeah, Wogu at the dish, real solid swing, a lot of confidence, a lot of power. We saw that excellent swing yesterday, drove the ball down the line for that big double to knot up the game for the Wolverines in the 7th.
All right, here's the 0-1 delivery to Wogu. And looks like, it rolled behind Sloniger there, and Nelson will move up to second on what I believe is probably going to go down by a passed ball, as a passed ball.
Yeah, not really sure what happened there. It didn't seem like the catcher and the pitcher got crossed up because Sloniger kind of dropped his knees down to go and get that slider, and it looked like he was tracking it in fairly well, but just couldn't grasp it at the end and enabled Nelson to move up to second base.
And it will be called a passed ball, and Nelson will not get credit from the hit. For the hit, it will be ruled an E4 on Joe Weisenseal. Here's the 1-1 to Wogu. Wogu swings and misses, and he has now found himself behind in the count 1-2.
Yeah, Wogu, a good-looking swing there, just swung a little over it. Just got to step out now, recollect your thoughts, get back in the box with that confidence, and go to work. Build off of everything you did yesterday.
All right. Lehman takes the signal. Looks back to Nelson at second base. Here's the 1-2 delivery. Wogu swung on, high chopper, and rolls foul.
Yeah, 2 strikes, choking up on the bat, just looking to get something that maybe hangs up a little bit. If you do get thrown a breaking ball, drive in 2 more runs.
All right, and Lehman walks back to the mound. It's like takes the signal from Sloniger. And Sloniger lines up outside. Here's the 1-2 delivery, and Wogu almost looked like squared around a bunt, pulled away at the last second, and the count's evened up at 2-2. Nittany Lions defensive alignment, Sloniger behind the plate, Lehman on the mound, and then from first to third across the infield, Robeson, Weisenseal, Goodnight, and Klayman. In the outfield, left field, Giovadoni, center field, Bowersox, right field, Chris Kramer.
And when the at-bat began, while we did see corners in, we now got everybody in on the infield for Penn State, looking to stop the damage early.
All right. Here's the 2-2 delivery to Wogu. Swung on and launched into left field, straight to Braxton Giovadoni in left field for that second out. However, Jesse Franklin on third base tags up and scores. Wogu gets the RBI sac fly, and the Wolverines take a 3-run lead.
And really good base running there by Jesse Franklin. Tagging up is a very underrated skill. It's a very difficult thing to do because a lot of time outfielders will deke or you won't be able to see where the ball is in the air. But for Franklin there, he noticed right away that based on the left fielder Glavidoni's arm, he'd be able to tag, got back to the base quickly, saw the catch, wasn't tricked by anything the outfielder could have done to throw him off, then hustled home to score the third run of the inning for the Wolverines.
All right, 2 outs, Blake Nelson on second, and Miles Lewis, the switch hitter, is up. And here comes the first pitch, and it is taken low for ball one. Lewis not having the greatest season, not having as good a season as you'd expect from a DH, only hitting .232.
Yeah, and on the infield, an interesting alignment from Penn State. The shortstop deep in the 5-6 hole. The second baseman, while holding on Nelson at second, is pretty tight up the middle as well.
Here's the 1-0 delivery, and also taken low for ball two.
And getting back to that, we've seen a lot of minor shifts from Penn State this weekend, which is surprising because, while in the major leagues you do have a ton of data on guys and a ton of sampling to see where they're going to hit the ball most often, in college that data isn't very readily available. So you're just kind of going off of who's a righty and who's a lefty and what you think will happen. It's not really data driven.
All right. And he throws back to second, and almost caught Blake Nelson there unaware on second base. But Perry Costello has ruled him safe, and Lehman, I'd say really third time, nearly picked off a Wolverines base runner.
And nothing wrong with what Nelson's doing there. With 2 outs, you want to get a little more depth at second base to possibly round the corner at third. Always want to keep your feet moving, and when the pitcher looks at you, then looks home, you want to get a little bit of a shuffle into your secondary going early. And
here comes the 2-0 delivery, swung on, fouled back by Miles Lewis. And the second and third runs, of course, in some capacity resulting from the fielding error by Joe Weisenseal. As a result, Taylor Lehman will not be assessed 2 of the second and third runs as earned. So far he's given up 3 runs, only 1 of them earned.
Yeah, unearned runs, a big story of the weekend for Penn State. We saw a lot of it on Friday. We saw it again yesterday on that error in left field that scored a few for the Wolverines and led to a big inning for them.
All right. Lehman looks back at Nelson on second, delivers, and it is taken high. Almost looked like what could have easily turned into a pitch out to try and keep Nelson honest at second base, and Miles Lewis finds himself ahead 3-1 in the count. And here comes Lehman on the 3-1 pitch, and it is belted into left field and made the catch at the warning track. Braxton Giovanni did to finally end the inning for the Penn State Nittany Lions, but not before the Wolverines score 3 runs.
And an excellent swing by Lewis, just unfortunate. Glavidoni out and left was incredibly deep. He was basically in the shadows underneath that towering wall out and left. Really didn't even have to go that far to make a play on that one. That was on the warning track.
All right, and you're listening to WCBN here, broadcasting the final game of this weekend series between Michigan and Penn State. The score through 1 going into the top of the second, Michigan 3, Penn State nothing. And Carl Kaufman goes out to the mound for his second inning of work, and out come the fielders, and the Nittany Lions will be led off this inning by first baseman, left-handed freshman Curtis Robinson. Off to really had a rough season at the plate, only hitting 151.
Yeah, as a freshman, especially in the more East Coast areas where you can't play as much baseball because of the weather, a lot of the pitching talent is worse and less consistent. So as a better hitter in the area, a lot of the time you're feasting off of lesser competition. But when you get to the college level, everyone is incredibly competitive, incredibly consistent relative to those earlier levels, and as a freshman, it can be tough sometimes to adjust. We've seen it a little bit with Jack Blomgren this year, where it took him a little bit to get into the swing of things on the offensive side of the plate, and then even Jesse Franklin, who has been the Wolverines' best hitter as of late, wasn't even starting to begin the year. He was on the bench, but he quickly made those adjustments and earned a spot in the lineup, and now he's hitting in the 4-hole for this team as they've been on their incredible streak.
All right, Robinson comes up, again, only one of 2 left-handed hitters in this lineup. He's going to have the platoon advantage against the right-handed Carl Kaufman. And Robinson taking a few practice swings, and he steps up into the box, and Salter makes the signal to Kaufman. Kaufman delivers the first pitch, and taken outside for a ball.
And I'm surprised the Wolverines threw an outside fastball there against a 150 hitter, and with Kaufman being infinitely more successful when he gets ahead, I'm surprised they didn't just attack middle and low in the zone to get things started.
And there's the 1-0 pitch swung on and missed by Robinson, swung right over it, and the count's evened up at 1-1. The Wolverines now, for the left-handed Robinson, employing a right-sided shift. Jack Blomgren moves over to cover second base, and Akeo Thomas right into the hole, and the 1-1 pitch is taken low and outside for a ball 1. Or excuse me, ball 2.
Yeah, and on that 1-0 pitch, you saw that pitch that I thought the Wolverines would throw on 0-0, but even after you get that, you're in a 1-1 situation, and you still got to be a little bit more careful when attacking the hitter.
And there's the 2-1, and the taken low, and now Kaufman, down 3-1, is in danger of walking the weakest hitter in the Penn State lineup. And here's the 3-1, and it is also taken low, and Kaufman has walked the first batter of the inning.
And from the pitching side of things, anytime your arm action is longer, it's going to be a lot more difficult to get it into that slot behind your head where you need to get into every single time. While all pitchers do have different deliveries, for the most part, every single guy gets their hand right behind their ear, the ball just a little bit below the top of their head and hidden. And a lot of time throughout the season, Kaufman has struggled with that. And when you don't get that arm in that good slot, you can't attack the zone very consistently, as we saw there.
And the first pitch is taken low for a ball for Braxton Giovanni. Came on as a pinch hitter in the top of the 9th inning yesterday with the Nittany Lions down by 1, and proceeded to put a ball over the left field wall to tie the game and force extra innings. And here's the 1-0 pitch, and taken low and away, and Kaufman finds himself behind again, 2-0.
And smart by Salter there after the pitch to go out to the mound now. 5 balls in a row from Kaufman, and despite that, he hasn't really stepped off the mound to clear his thoughts. He's gone a little bit behind the rubber, but hasn't really taken a little pace job behind the hill to collect himself, get back on that hill, and get back to attacking.
Curtis Robinson, 4 for 4 stolen bases this season. So here's the 2-0 delivery, swung on and fouled over into the Wolverines dugout by Giovanni. But, however, Robinson doesn't appear to show any inclination of going to second.
And on top of what I said before about Kaufman, as a pitcher, you're going to throw balls, but it's a matter of are you making adjustments. And when you throw 5 balls in a row into the dirt, that's something the coach hates to see.
Here's the 2-1, swung on and popped a mile high into shallow center field. And Jonathan Engelman comes up and makes the play, and now 1 away in the top of the 2nd inning.
Yeah, we saw it a lot yesterday with Dragani against this Penn State lineup that isn't that powerful, doesn't make that much contact. Pretty high strikeout rate for a lot of the guys on the team. When you put the ball over the dish, good things are going to happen. Dragani struggled when he got behind and started walking guys, and then there were errors in the field because guys behind you start falling in and out of consciousness. And on the hill, you just got to attack. Good things always happen when you attack the zone early.
And the first pitch swung on and missed there by Chris Kramer, starting in right field today, and has had really hasn't played much this season. This is only his 11th at-bat of the season. However, he is hitting 300 with that small sample size. And here's the 0-1 delivery, and taken high and inside, count evened up at 1-1.
Kramer, another guy for Penn State who has incredible speed, laid down a bunt yesterday to the first base side and then beat it out.
All right, Kaufman, here's the 1-1, and a chopper to third baseman Blake Nelson, who boots it. And now suddenly the Wolverines have runners on first and second with 1 away. And up comes Logan Goodnight, the 8-hitter, only hitting .204 on this season.
And while that wasn't that difficult of a play for Nelson to make, a little bit tough sometimes with the high hop because guys can get down the line. It's that Penn State speed that lingers in his head. He knows he's going to have to get rid of that ball quickly, make a really clean transfer, and he just couldn't do that there. He was trying to go too quickly, trying to get rid of the ball before he even had it in his hand.
And that's going down as an E5 on the scorecard. And here comes the first pitch to Goodnight, who fouls it into the parking lot beside Ray Fisher Stadium.
And for this Wolverines team, one of the biggest differences on their win streak has been the defense they've played. But between yesterday and a little bit today, we haven't seen them be as sharp behind their pitcher on the hill.
All right, Kaufman now ahead 0-1. Here comes the delivery, and swung on and missed there by Goodnight, fooled by the breaking ball.
Yeah, really good pitch there by Kaufman. He set it up before with that fastball that missed a little bit inside. The batter sees that again, and on 0-1, he's looking to attack that and drive that baseball, but then that ball just falls off the plane and starts breaking away from him. Nothing you can do about that at the dish for Goodnight.
All right, Kaufman up 0-2. Here it comes, and called strike 3 there, and Goodnight is sat down by Carl Kaufman for, I believe, his first strike. No, sorry, not his first strikeout of the game. His second strikeout of the game. And up comes Joe Weisenseal, of course, committed a fielding error in the prior inning.
And a fairly dangerous pitch there by Kaufman. Left a slider basically right down the middle, but right on right, you can't get away with that because that pitch is going to start at the hitter's shoulder, maybe at his head. He could think that one's going to be coming in for a ball up high, but then it just breaks into the middle of the zone. Caught Goodnight frozen.
And the first pitch taken low for a ball. And I was mistaken. That was actually Kaufman's third strikeout of the game so far.
Yeah, you see the stuff from Kaufman. Like I said, it's just a matter of him getting ahead of guys and being able to attack with that excellent secondary offering.
All right, Salter signals. Salter lines up the center of the plate. And the 1-0 delivery, another foul ball, bounces off the roof of the first baseline section here at Ray Fisher Stadium and rolls into the parking lot.
And you see on the hill, while Kaufman does have that loose arm that kind of whips around, he gets on top of the baseball really well. It comes bowling down into the zone. It's a really heavy pitch, and what we mean by that is it spins a lot, and it's tough as a catcher on your hand and especially on a hitter because that pitch just gets on you so quickly.
All right, here's the 1-1 delivery. And taken low and outside, Salter gets up. Salter having to step off the plate there, looking around to see if Robinson or Kramer were thinking about running, but holds both runners, and Kaufman finds himself behind again, 2-1.
And surprisingly, a glove pick there by Salter behind the dish on a breaking ball that you know has the capability to miss down low. You usually want to slide over and smother that with your chest, keep it in front. Lucky by Salter to pick that one clean and keep it in front.
Here's the 2-1 delivery. And swung on, and chopper to Nelson, who fires across to first base, and the Wolverines get out of this inning again. Kaufman making himself nervous, but gets out of the inning unscathed. And now going into the bottom of the second inning here on WCBN, Michigan 3, Penn State 0.
And that play was really similar to the one we saw earlier from Nelson. The only difference here is he knows he only has to get one out going across the diamond as opposed to going for two. He had a little bit more time on the transfer. Didn't need to shuffle his feet there, rather because he didn't have the time to, but still easy transfer there. Cocked back, threw that one easily and cleanly across the diamond.
All right, and still the weather here in Ann Arbor, absolutely beautiful. Perhaps is the best day for a while. Minimal cloud cover, the sun's out, and all the players, I'd say really for the first time all season here at Ray Fisher Stadium, the vast majority of the players wearing short sleeves here today as Lehman goes out for his second inning of work.
Always a welcome sight, you know. You never want to be suffering through snowstorms in mid-April, but that's a little bit of what we've been subject to up here. But it does kind of stink that just as everyone's starting to leave, the weather is turning around, but I guess that's what you're expecting when you come to the University of Michigan. Definitely a culture shock experiencing my first true winter. Big difference from the low 60s of Southern California, but
I was about to say, when was the last time you had an ice storm in Los Angeles?
Exactly, yeah, but you acclimate to it quickly, and then on Friday it was really only 55 degrees, but it was sunny out, not a lot of wind, and you go outside and personally, I was like, wow, this feels like a 75-degree day back home just because of the relative difference to what it had been before.
Yeah, it was an ice storm a week ago, and now you and I are in the press box wearing shorts.
Exactly. Last week we were sitting here. We had to wait about 4 hours and then had to turn in because we had to go to a dinner, an end-of-year dinner late at night, and we just had to pack it up. Couldn't get to the game because of that feels-like temperature being under 28 and the AccuWeather debacle, but no issues like that here today. It's always a welcome sight, as I said before.
Yep, and here comes Harrison Salter leading off this inning, of course, filling in for Brock Keener at catcher today. And the first pitch is swung on, fouled back above the press box, and he finds himself behind 0-1.
Yeah, catching's tough during a 3-game weekend series. A lot of time you will see some sort of catcher swap, especially after an extra inning game yesterday. Just good to give Keener a day off leg-wise.
Here's the 0-1 delivery, taken high, and counts even at 1-1. Nearly hit home plate umpire Sal Giacomontonio in the face, but Ryan Sloniger up there with his glove.
And likewise, Salter at the dish, no slouch himself, a 306 average.
And here comes the 1-1 delivery. Swung on by Salter. Looks like is it gonna drop for a bloop single? No, it will not. Excellent sliding play there by Nittany Lions center fielder Jordan Bowersox. Yeah, and now one away.
Excellent play there by Bowersox. Good read at first in the outfield. It's always important to take your first step backwards because it's a lot easier to come in than it is to go back. Bowersox made that first step backwards, saw the ball dropping in the air, then came forward and laid out. There's really only 2 good times to lay out. On a ball in the gap when you know you have coverage behind you, and on a baseball way in front of you that you come running in for. The latter case there, and like I said, once again, an excellent play by Bowersox.
And here's the first pitch taken high for a ball, or freshman shortstop Jack Blomgren, only hitting .219. What you would call at this stage in his career a purely defensive specialist.
Yeah, but Blomgren's got some ability at the plate, really smooth swing. I think things will really come into focus for him towards the end of this year and even next year. Like you said, Nick, only a freshman, so much time to develop, such a talented player. You're definitely going to see the improvement over the next few years from Blomgren.
That pitch taken high for ball 2. Of course, Blomgren provided the game-winning RBI bunt yesterday in the 11th inning, and here's the 2-0 delivery, taken high, and Blomgren's out in front 3-0.
And aside from maybe power being a big differentiator between these guys, baseball is all about the little things, and you get in the lineup because of the small things you do, whether it's your hustle, whether it's putting down bunts, whether it's making the right read on the bases, and Blomgren's one of those guys, has such great feel for the game.
And there's the 3-0 delivery, taken high and outside, and Taylor Lehman has issued a 4-pitch walk to Jack Blomgren. And now the top of the order comes back up. Akeo Thomas coming up. The junior, Jack Blomgren, 4 for 4 stolen bases on stolen bases so far this season. He hasn't really gotten very many chances given his low average, but we'll see what he can do here. See if Bakich chooses to use him as aggressively as he uses the top of the order more often than not. And Lehman takes the signal from Sloniger. Looks over to Blomgren at first. Delivers the first pitch to Akeo Thomas, and it is a called strike 1 down in the zone.
And at the dish there, Thomas looked really uncomfortable. Usually on a fastball outside, you keep your body weight underneath you and you look to drive the baseball the other way. But there, Thomas kind of caught himself leaning over the dish, looking to maybe cast and go get that one. Really good decision to lay off and live to see another pitch.
All right. Thomas steps up in the box. Lehman looks over at Blomgren, and here's the 0-1 delivery taken high for ball 1 of this at-bat, and counts even at 1-1.
Yeah, and with Akeo Thomas, that top half of the strike zone goes down a lot more than it would for most guys. That pitch a little above his letters, a strike to most guys on this team, but being short at the dish can help you, especially for a guy like Thomas who packs a ton of power into that small frame.
All right, here comes the 1-1 delivery, and taken outside for ball 2. Thomas finds himself ahead in yet another count. Thomas really no stranger to getting on base with an on-base percentage of .385. Really, it's been quite impressive given that his average really over the last few weeks has dipped. All right, here's the 2-1 delivery to Thomas. Swung on, and there's a chopper to Kleeman, who throws it into right field, and Jack Blomgren goes over to third base. Akeo Thomas stays at first. It'll be interesting to see what they call here. Akeo Thomas, even had that throw been completed to second, is very unlikely Thomas would have been picked off at first base. So it'll be interesting to see how they count this.
Yeah, really tough play there for Clement. That's so difficult to make because your target at second base isn't set. On that one, Weisenseal's coming running in. You field it on your back foot. You're kind of leaning back over it, and you're not really shuffling your feet to get through that one. You don't have the time because of the base running speed of Blomgren. Just a really tough play all around. And
all right, we're going. It's going to be counted as a fielder's choice. Thomas reaches on a fielder's choice. Blomgren advances 2 bases on a throwing error by Kleeman. And here's the 0-0 delivery to Bullock. Nearly hit him in the front number right there, and taken inside ball 1. Bullock, of course, in the last inning started his day with a walk, and of course with 2 extra base hits, including a home run yesterday.
And if I'm the Wolverines, I'm sending Thomas here on the next pitch.
Here's the 1-0. Thomas looked like he thought about it, but ultimately stayed at first. And now Bullock finds himself up 2-0. And Eric Backett standing just at the top of the stairs to the dugout, looking over at Thomas. He might be given the signal to steal.
Yeah, 2-0, you might want to be a little more conservative. Maybe go hit and run on the next pitch if it's a strike here, or run and hit.
And Lehman steps off the mound, fakes a throw to first, and keeping Thomas honest.
Yeah, Thomas really unafraid there, didn't even bother going back to the bag, kind of lunged at it, but when he saw Lehman wasn't even going to throw, he didn't bother diving back, which is kind of surprising over there. He was
Lehman
possibly
takes
left out to dry.
Popped into foul territory. Sloniger's going to try and make that play, and he does. But Akeo Thomas tags up and moves over to second. No throw there by Sloniger. So Bullock is out on a pop fly foul ball, but he does move Akeo Thomas over second base, and now Jonathan Engelman is up with runners on second and third with 2 outs.
A real veteran play there, too, by Thomas. Just as good as a stolen base, advancing to second. On the sac fly, rare that you see that, a sac fly to the catcher, but with Sloniger so deep behind the dish, basically up against the wall and the backstop, Thomas has the ability to run to second, because if that throw comes across the diamond, Blomgren is reading that, and if he sees that high arcing angle, he's going to be gone towards the plate, and at the same time, no one really there to cover the dish, because while Sloniger was near the backstop, Lehman didn't really go to cover the dish. He was kind of drifting towards Sloniger. Would have been difficult to make a play at the plate there.
Here comes Jonathan Engelman, also walked last inning. And here's the first pitch. Swung on by Engelman, looks like launched right into center field, but Jordan Bowersox is going to be there to make the play, and Taylor Lehman gets out of this inning without giving up any runs. However, he has thrown nearly 50 pitches over the course of these first 2 innings. And now at the end of the second inning here on WCBN, the score remains Michigan 3, Penn State 0.
And oddly enough on that one, despite the veteran play before, Akeo Thomas was trying to tag up with 2 outs until he was looking back at the center fielder, and I guess he caught the scoreboard in his peripheral vision, and then he started taking off. Kind of odd to see there from a guy who's such a smart baseball player, but I guess after that win on Friday, the Wolverines might have zoned out, and with the series wind in hand.
All right, and all the Michigan players in the dugout getting loose here while Kaufman comes out for a few warm-up pitches. And the weather here is still beautiful. Here at Ray Fisher Stadium, across from our view of from the press box behind home plate, off beyond right field is the Big House, home of Michigan football, and across over center field is Chrysler Arena, home of the Michigan basketball team, who recently, of course, qualified for the national championship game. And right here over in deep left is the Michigan softball stadium, playing the University of Maryland right now.
And now with the second time through the order coming up for the Nittany Lions, expect Kaufman to mix in his changeup more, give these hitters a different look. With Kaufman's arm slot, he can get really good fade on the changeup, so much so that you can throw it right on right.
All right. And the top of the Nittany Lions order, Jordan Bowersox, steps into the box. Of course, Bowersox, the only provide the only Penn State hit today with a leadoff single in the first inning off of Kaufman. And Kaufman delivers, taken low for ball 1.
And again, we haven't really seen a lot of adjustments here from Kaufman today. I know as a starter you always want to work down in the zone, but lots of pitches have missed in the turf. Salters had to go down and get them.
And here's the 1-0, swung on, and a chopper to Jack Blomgren, who fires over to Franklin on first in time, and the Wolverines have their first out of the inning.
Really good drop step and footwork there, out at short by Blomgren. Made sure to go back a little bit on that one so that he could come through it, shuffle his feet, work his way towards first base, and threw a dart over to Franklin there to get the first out of the inning.
All right, and here comes catcher Ryan Sloniger, one of the few left-handed hitters out here today, has the platoon advantage against the righty Carl Kaufman, hitting .298 on the season with an on-base percentage of .388. Grounded into a fielder's choice in the first inning. And Kaufman delivers. Swung on and grounded over to Akeo Thomas at second, who calmly throws it over to Franklin on first. And just like that, 3 pitches into this inning, and Kaufman's already sent 2 down.
And you love to see it from Kaufman, attacking early with this 3-0 lead. No need to mess around because you have a little bit more room for error. Look for him to throw another fastball right over the middle of the plate here to Clemen, looking to get another out on 1 pitch.
All right, here comes Connor Kleeman. And the 0-0 pitch, and it is a called strike 1.
And that one right down the middle. No surprise Clemen taking, though. You do want to work up the pitch count a little bit. Never really want to give a guy a 5-pitch inning.
All right. And the 0-1 delivery to Kleeman, taken low. Oh, no, called strike 2 just on that low outside corner. And Kaufman finds himself ahead 0-2.
Really good pitch there by Kaufman, working the fastball middle to the fastball away. Look for a slider in the dirt here on the outer half.
And just as you called it, slider into the turf, and that is a 3-pitch strikeout, and Kaufman puts 3 Nittany Lions hitters down in 6 pitches.
Yeah, really good sequence there by Kaufman. As I said, started the fastball middle, then worked the batter's eyes a little bit further out over the plate with the fastball away. Then he sets up that slider so that it looks like it's going to be a fastball that sticks itself on the outer part of the plate. The batter thinks in his mind that he has to swing because it's going to be a called strike, and you never want to go down looking a coach's worst nightmare. So you see the casting of the hands there by the 3-hitter Clemen for the Nittany Lions. Strike 3, like I said, excellent pitch by Kaufman.
And now here on WCBN, going into the bottom of this 3rd inning, Michigan has the lead 3-0. Each side has 1 hit. However, perhaps the difference maker in this game so far, the Wolverines have only committed 1 error to the relative to the Nittany Lions 3.
And walks, another big story. A lot of walks on the Penn State side. Lehman hasn't done a very good job attacking and getting ahead of guys. A lot of 4-pitch walks too, which I guess it keeps the pitch count down if you're looking at walks, but walks are a coach's worst nightmare, save for striking out looking. I don't think I've ever seen my high school baseball coach get more upset than when guys struck out looking on fastballs on the outside half of the plate. That is a sin in baseball land.
All right, and as you said, Taylor Lehman has issued 3 walks against 0 strikeouts through 45 pitches in the first 2 innings. Really, they're getting his pitch count up. They're in danger of chasing, Wolverine hitters in danger of chasing him out of the game early on.
And on both sides, it's going to be really important to get long performances out of the starter with 11 innings yesterday, and then the infinite amount of runs Michigan put up on Friday. These bullpens are very depleted, so both sides are going to need excellent starting performances to keep the guys healthy on the back end and give them some rest.
All right, here comes Jesse Franklin leading off this inning. Of course, last inning he had an RBI single. Excuse me, in the first inning had an RBI single.
And if the Nittany Lions are smart, they will not throw Franklin a fastball over the dish this entire at-bat.
Here's the 0-0 pitch, and there's a fastball down on the down and outside, taken for a ball 1.
Yeah, with a guy like Franklin, you can attack the middle with sliders, maybe a changeup that I believe Lehman's flashed 1 or 2 times throughout this game, but if you're going to throw the fastball, it better be on the black or tight inside.
All right, there's the 1-0. Looked like an off-speed pitch Franklin got out in front of it, fouled it straight back, and the count's evened up at 1-1.
I think that one was actually a fastball, but the catcher set up on the black so that even if Franklin does hit it, he's not going to get the meat of the bat on it and drive the baseball.
All right, Taylor Lehman, 1-1 delivery, and it is taken low, ball 2. And Franklin finds himself one pitch ahead, again, 2-1.
And so far, 5 pitches to Franklin, all fastballs. Very surprising Lehman hasn't worked in the slider, maybe not feeling too confident in it.
All right. Lehman, here's the 2-1 delivery. And swung on and missed there by Franklin. Franklin fell down a little bit. And the count is now evened up at 2-2.
And there was that slider, about time from the Nittany Lions. Franklin sees it coming down the middle. His eyes light up. He thinks it's going to be a fastball, and then that pitch just barrels downward, falls off the table. Excellent pitch there by the Nittany Lions starter Lehman.
All right. Here comes the 2-2 delivery. And swung on and missed down and outside, and Franklin is sent down, and Lehman picks up his first strikeout of the game.
And there it is again, the excellent slider by Taylor Lehman. You see the flashes of talent that the Marlins saw when they picked him in the 34th round, but I'd have to say at the next level, Lehman projects as a more lefty specialist guy with that fastball that he doesn't really spot that well on the inside part of the plate, and that slider that barrels down as a lefty against a lefty who throws a breaking ball. That pitch is impossible to hit because it starts behind you for the most part and starts moving away from you, and you kind of have to cast your hands at it and make a bad swing.
And the first pitch is called for a strike down in the zone to Blake Nelson.
And with getting back to same-side breaking balls, you really have to time it perfectly as a hitter and put a perfect swing through it to get a hit.
All right, and Nelson again looks at a strike, and he finds himself behind 0-2. Lehman off to a good start this inning.
Yeah, and that one looked like it had a little less speed on it. Could have been a changeup there. Not that much movement from Lehman, but just something to throw off the hitter Nelson, who's been on a tear lately.
All right, here comes the 0-2 delivery, and it is a called strike 3. Adam, Blake Nelson has committed what you described as the cardinal sin for a batter in baseball, a 3-pitch strikeout, and he just watched it.
And that one was what we call a fine for a fastball. That's about 2 to 3 inches off the plate, but a lot of times if you're peppering that outside corner and then you throw that pitch, it looks identical to an umpire. It's the old Greg Maddux trick where he'd slowly work further and further outside to get the umpire moving with him. He got lots of strike 3 calls looking because the hitters know that's a ball, but the umpire has no clue based on the pitches right before.
All right, 2 outs, and the first pitch to Jordan Wogu is low and in the turf.
And Wogu looking to keep the hot streak going. Just like all these guys in the lineup, seemingly, Wogu been on a tear as of late. Lots of great swings from him.
And here's the 1-0, and there's another called strike there to Jordan Wogu.
Yeah, the zone seeming to expand a little bit lower and lower. It's just that angle from Lehman's hand where the fastball crosses at about the knees, but it gets caught somewhere near the shins. But the umpires call it where it crosses the plate, so we're going to see that throughout the course of the game.
And there's the 1-1, and another called strike. Called strike 2. That's 5 straight strikes that Wolverine hitters have not swung at. And Wogu steps back up into that box, down 1-2, and here's the 1-2 delivery. And that is low, nearly in there on Wogu's hands, nearly clips him on the elbow, but the count is evened up at 2-2.
And an excellent eye there for Wogu, a guy who strikes out a pretty fair amount, but held back there, now gets even at 2-2. Look for a fastball in the outer half here. Look for him to drive something.
And here's the 2-2 delivery. Wogu drives it into left field. Is he going to get there? No, he is not. That is a home run for Jordan Wogu in really almost the deepest part of the park. And the Wolverines take a 4-0 lead on the solo home run by Jordan Wogu.
And that was supposed to be a fastball outside. The catcher popped onto the black, but that pitch missed middle in, and Wogu drove that pitch for a home run. Wogu seems to excel at hitting home runs. Such great power from him. What a beautiful swing from the young freshman. Wolverine fans should get used to his presence in the lineup because he is going to be a stalwart for this year and the 2 remaining until he's draft eligible.
All right. Here comes Miles Lewis coming off the Jordan Wogu home run. Received a great reception here by the actually fairly populous crowd here at Ray Fisher Stadium. And here's the first pitch. Another called strike.
Yeah, we saw early in the count Lehman using that angle from his 6'8" frame to his advantage to get below the knees, but he left that one up to Wogu, too, that helped him lift it out to left center field.
There's the 0-1 delivery, high and outside. Counts even at 1-1. Harrison Salter, the catcher, on deck here for the Wolverines. And Lehman takes the pitch, takes the signal, and Sloniger lines up on the inside half of the plate. And here's the 1-1 delivery, and that is a foul ball into the Wolverines bullpen. Nobody's up, so nobody's in danger of getting hit.
And another glove side miss there on the mound from Taylor Lehman. In the video before, when I was scouting him before this one began, all of his misses were glove side, and we saw that dangerous miss to Wogu, another dangerous one there that Lewis just was a little too early on and hooked hard into the bullpen.
Here's the 1-2 to Lewis. Taken low, and the count's evened up at 2-2. Same count that Wogu proceeded to deposit over the left field wall.
Yeah, but a lot of fastballs so far from Lehman against Lewis. I'd look to go to the back foot slider here, and then if that misses and Lewis can't swing on that one, just go back to the slider on 3-2, put it down the middle.
All right, here comes the 2-2, and swung on, and that's a ground ball to shortstop Logan Goodnight, fired over to first base for the third out in this inning. Lehman started out sharp before Jordan Wogu got his bat on a pitch that he wanted, and that was a home run over the wall, right over, I believe, Barry Larkin's number 16 there on the left field right there, and the Wolverines extend their lead to 4-0 here after 3 innings on WCBN.
And getting back to Wogu, that's what great hitters do. They punish mistakes, because any hitter can get a hit at any time, and any hitter can drive a baseball, but the best hitters do it the most consistently, and they make you pay every single time you mess up.
And once again, the Wolverines dugout coming out there in left field, getting loose as Kaufman takes his warm-up pitches. And now Harrison Salter comes out, takes his position, and the Nittany Lions' strongest hitter, Parker Hendershot, is going to come in and lead off this inning. Hendershot had a fairly solid game yesterday by his standards. Hendershot yesterday was 3 for 5 with a walk and 3 RBIs.
And interestingly, usually you see the backup catcher come out to catch the starter, especially since Salter was on deck as that inning ended. But Marcus Chavez came out, so we certainly will not be seeing Brock Keener maybe in pinch hit duty at some point, but with the way the Wolverines are playing now, it seems like the backups could be in fairly soon, and we probably won't be seeing Keener at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Of course, Keener, as you've said, done a lot of catching in recent weeks. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Eric Bakich pulled him aside after yesterday's game and said, you're going to get the day off.
Yeah, and with the Wolverines' biggest series of the week coming up next week against Iowa, who's 4th in the conference right now, you want to keep all your guys fresh and healthy, and while the guys out in the field will get to keep swinging it, Keener behind the plate takes a little more wear and tear, so he'll get time off.
First pitch of the inning is a high chopper to Blake Nelson, and Hendershot is retired after 1 pitch. Kaufman, really after starting slowly these first 2 innings, has really picked up the pace.
Yeah, he's just attacking the zone more. Early on, he was missing down below the knees, even bouncing fastballs in the dirt, another pitching no-no. But now that he's putting the pitches just above the knees, he's getting really good results. Good things will always happen when you put the ball over the plate. Every single year on balls that are put in play, the Major League average is 300. So 70% of the time that you get a ball in play, you're going to get an out. Those odds are in your favor. Now, you don't want to be serving up pitches, and I think on served up pitches, it's probably around 380 to 400. But if you can make a good pitch, you're probably going to get an out 78% of the time.
And first there was a called strike 1, and Curtis Robison just swung on the second pitch and missed. And now Kaufman finds himself ahead 0-2 on Robison. And here comes the 0-2. Salter lines up outside, and there's a chopper looks like a little interesting there. And it looks like it's going to be called a foul ball. Right there, rolled down the first base line. Couldn't tell if it rolled just out, but I couldn't tell if it had made contact with Robinson. In that case, it likely would have been base runner's interference. But first base umpire James Bulick has ruled a foul ball, and Robinson will go back to the plate. And there is the swinging strike 3 there on Curtis Robinson. And just like that, again, only 5 pitches thrown so far in this inning, and Kaufman has 2 outs.
Yeah, and when you get ahead, it sets up that power slider. Kaufman really hasn't shown much ability to throw it for a glove strike today, but he's done such a good job working it off the fastball, throwing it in the dirt, keeping these Penn State hitters off balance and sending them back to the dugout. All
right, here comes the first pitch. Is fouled into the Ray Fisher Stadium parking lot. Appeared to have hit the front bumper of a minivan. Braxton Giovanni is in the box for Penn State. Just shows the dangers of parking that close to a baseball stadium. And here's the 0-1 pitch, and that is a called strike 2 on the lower outside corner of the zone to Giovanni.
And there it is again, Kaufman continuing to attack the way he's gone so far. Look for the slider away and off the plate again.
All right, there's the 0-2, swung on and missed there. 8 pitches this inning by Kaufman, and Giovanni is sent down. Here going to the bottom of this 4th inning, Wolverines have a lead 4-0 here on WCBN. And around the conference, around the Big Ten Conference here, bottom 6th, Illinois playing out of conference against Grand Canyon University from the WAC, tied 2-2 in the bottom of the 6th. Nebraska at Rutgers, bottom of the 5th. Nebraska has a 4-2 lead. Top of the 4th inning in Maryland, the hometown Terrapins are beating Purdue 4-1. In the bottom of the 3rd in Columbus, Ohio, Ohio State and 8th-ranked Indiana tied at 2. And, of course, you have our score here going into the bottom of the 4th. Wolverines have a 4-0 lead on Penn State. And now, as of 5 minutes ago, the games, 2 games have just started. Iowa at 25th-ranked Minnesota and Michigan State at Northwestern. And here in Ann Arbor, congratulations to the Michigan softball team, have just defeated Maryland to improve their record to 38-7 on the season.
And one thing from Carl Kaufman's side of things that surprised me is his sequencing, because every single batter, he started with the fastball and he's put guys away with the slider. And this Penn State team hasn't adjusted at all. I mean, every single batter, Kaufman's really gone to the same sequence. Fastball middle, fastball away, slider low and away off the plate. And every single time in these past 2 innings, he's gotten the same results. Now, there's something to be said for if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Penn State has so many guys in their dugout. Someone should be tracking sequences. Someone should be tracking how Kaufman is attacking their hitters and what he's done in the past. But no adjustments so far from Penn State, and that's part of why they're in this 4-0 hole.
All right, Harrison Salter leading off this inning. Taylor Lehman comes out for his 4th inning of work. And the first pitch is taken low for a ball. Lehman only given up 2 earned runs of the 4 scored. However, he has averaged 21 pitches an inning, thrown 63 pitches through the first 3. And here's the 1-0 delivery, and swung on, and I couldn't tell if Salter fouled that one back. I believe so. Either way, Ryan Sloniger, a little scary right there, just took that ball off his face mask, and Sal Jacob Antonio giving him a minute, and looks like a trainer's going to come out to check on Sloniger.
Yeah, usually when a catcher gets hit, you'll see the pitcher stay out on the mound. The umpire will go walk him out a new baseball to give the catcher time. But interestingly here, the umpire is kind of crowding the catcher. The pitcher came back. Obviously, you want to support your friend and teammate, but very opposed to baseball custom in a sport that is big on tradition and doing things the right way. Good to see Sloniger is okay now, though.
It looks like Sloniger's okay. They actually, of course, they took it off his face mask. They actually may have been, it looked like they were looking at his throwing forearm. Looks like he may have gotten clipped there off the face mask. So But the trainer has gone back to the dugout. Looks like Sloniger will be okay, and the game will continue. And count is 1-1 on Harrison Salter. And Lehman delivers. And take it high and outside, and Salter finds himself out ahead 2-1.
Really good changeup count. I hope Lehman goes to it. Doesn't have that great a feel for it, but he set it up perfectly so far.
And there's the 2-1, taken high 3-1, and Kaufman now in danger of walking the first batter. Salter, his only at-bat so far today, it was in the second, and he flew out to center field. And the 3-1, Salter swings on it, high pop, and Sloniger's going to go back for it, and it is a little bit too far into the stands at Ray Fisher Stadium, and looks like somebody just got a souvenir.
I actually remember back when I used to go to lots of games over at UCLA, they would make you return foul balls because the team didn't want to spend money on new baseballs. A baseball costs about $3 to $4, and
how much does it cost to go to UCLA?
Well, they recruit a lot of in-state kids, and they have the scholarship money, so they're saving some money on that. But, yeah, the program was very cheap for a while, and they would make young kids give back foul balls. And I guess there was some incentive that the kids would give back the ball to players and get to meet them, and maybe it could be incentivized with a candy bar over at the concession stand, so you're saving a little bit more money. But it was always a very odd policy. I was not a fan of it in my young age.
And there's the payoff pitch there, taken inside for ball 4, and Salter is on first base. Yeah, that is really bad.
And then the other one I had an issue with was a guy on Arizona State hit a moonshot, and I left the stadium, ran out to the parking lot, got the home run ball, and as I came back, I got chastised for not going back to the player and asking him. And this was a player who was in his junior year who was going to be drafted in the 20th round, who had hit his fair share of home runs. I highly doubted he won a home run that he hit against a UCLA team that was struggling that year. It wasn't really any sort of sentimental or celebrational ball.
And the first pitch is taken low for a ball by Jack Blomgren, who, of course, walked in the second inning. So that is now, that was a called first strike, as Lehman throws to first and did not appear to be close to Salter. Robinson actually dropped the ball, so he even though he touched him, he did not make any tag.
Yeah, it just adds on to some of the sloppiness we've seen from Penn State. Even Michigan at times throughout this weekend series just has not been very pretty baseball, despite what the sky would indicate.
All right, Blomgren behind 0-1. Here's the delivery, and swung on, and looks like it's going to be sent to deep right field before Chris Kramer makes that catch, one away here in the bottom of this fourth inning. And Akeo Thomas is going to come, and the leadoff man is going to come up next.
And that's a fastball low and away to Blomgren. You get to see the raw power on display. He really drove that ball well. A tough pitch to do much with. Maybe he could have kept the bat more level and hit that ball in a line. That's an adjustment you make and something you get more comfortable with as you grow and you get more at-bats. But the raw power definitely on display. Hit that one to the warning track, and that ball just kept on carrying despite initially looking like it could end up in the second baseman's glove.
All right, Thomas, a line out in the first and a fielder's choice in the second. Here's the first pitch, and Thomas swings on it and fouls it back into the net over by Penn State's dugout. And K.O. Thomas steps back into the box. Harrison Salter has yet to attempt to steal a base, and as a result, Taylor Lehman doesn't really look all that concerned. And here's the 0-1 delivery, taken outside. And for ball 1, counts evened up 1-1. All right. Here comes K.O. Thomas, steps back into the box, and Lehman throws to first, and he actually misses Robinson. It rolls into right field. Salter is going to try and take his base. He is ruled safe. As he went back to first base, he tried to get up to run to second, and Robinson proceeded to trip over him, and they're giving him that advancement to second base on the fielder's interference there by Curtis Robinson.
Yeah, that was a wild sequence. We said it on the last pickoff. There's just been an incredible amount of sloppiness this weekend, and there, 2 drop balls, 2 potential outs, both thrown away by a baseball that just couldn't be squeezed. We had an old saying, put a glove on that glove, when guys couldn't catch, and I'm sure something along those lines is being heckled from the Michigan dugout.
All right. Here's the 1-1 to Thomas with a runner in scoring position, and he's going to line it into the gap in center field. That could, nope, it's going to be fielded by Jordan Bowersox there. Salter is not going to score. He's going to stay at third. Thomas looked like he thought about trying to stretch to second, but good play there by Bowersox, fielding the ball. Good throw to the cutoff man, second baseman, Joe Weisenseal, and Thomas wisely goes back to first. And now Christian Bullock up with 1 out and runners on the corners.
And the outfield was in there to potentially come up throwing and make a play at the plate to hold this lead at only 4. But out in right field, Kramer took a really bad route to that one, kind of came in and then started moving sideways rather than moving diagonally and directly at where the baseball would land. It is really tough in the outfield a lot of the time to get a read on off the bat on line drives. But even so, on a ball in the gap, one of the guys should lay out, whoever's closest to it, and one of them should take a deeper route so that you have back out. Because when you let that ball drop and no one lays out, you're not really giving yourself a chance whatsoever. And even if you miss laying out, the guy behind you is going to get that baseball and have a chance to come up throwing and make a play at the plate should Salter have turned the base. But not that much speed from the catcher. One of the lone slower guys in this Michigan lineup, even though he certainly does not lack for speed relative to the catching position.
And Josh Newman, in his first season as the Nittany Lions pitching coach, coming out to talk with Taylor Lehman a little bit. And the Nittany Lions appear to have a right-handed pitcher up in the bullpen. Unfortunately, from our vantage, we can't see who it is. And looks like as Newman walks back to the dugout, Christian Bullock is going to come up and try his luck against Taylor Lehman. All right, and Sloniger gives the signal, lines up on the inside half of the plate. Lehman delivers. Bullock does not swing, taken high for a ball.
And for Lehman, while things haven't gone so well behind him, you can't be discouraged on the mound. You got to keep attacking, getting ahead of guys, and hope things will start to turn in your favor.
All right, and Taylor Lehman looks over at Thomas on first. And there's the pitch taken low for ball 2. And as we've talked about this, Akeo Thomas, 13 for 15 stolen bases, leads the team in stolen bases and of players with double-digit attempts, stolen base percentage. So definitely a threat there on first base. All right, here's the 2-0 delivery, taken low and in the turf, 3-0. And he's in danger of issuing a 4-pitch walk to Bullock and loading the bases for Jonathan Engelman.
Yeah, definitely not intentional, though. You never want to pitch around a guy like Bullock. He has been hot, but despite his talent, he certainly does not stack up to the stud behind him, Jonathan Engelman.
Well, that's another reason you don't pitch around Bullock, is you don't want a man on base for Engelman. And here's the 3-0, and low and in the turf. Tried to muscle a fastball right in there, but looks like he lost control of it, and the bases are loaded for Jonathan Engelman.
And there was a degree of adjustment. You saw the first pitch missed high by Lehman, and then he started missing down low, but he never really stepped off the mound, didn't take his time, and that's going to be the end of his day now as the Penn State head coach in his 5th season, Rob Cooper's coming out to the mound to give him the yank.
Yeah, it looks like that. Taylor Lehman standing there as an arm comes in from the bullpen, and Lehman looks like he's about to give up the baseball, and he has given up the baseball. And closes the door on his day. 3 1/3 innings pitched, only given up 3 hits, but 4 runs, 2 earned, with 5 walks against 2 strikeouts, and faced 20 batters, giving up 1 home run. And perhaps the most damning statistic, 79 pitches thrown in 3 1/3 innings. And looks like up here for the Nittany Lions in for relief is going to be number 8, freshman Connor Larkin. As we know, Larkin pitched yesterday, actually did a fairly decent job, gave up a few more runs than he should have as he left a few runners on base that then proceeded to come around and score. Larkin, as we said, had a little bit of a rough season so far, 6.94 ERA with a whip of 1.57. Given up 18 earned runs, 10 walks against 20 strikeouts. We'll see what he can do here coming in with a bases-loaded jam.
Yeah, Larkin, only a freshman. Another guy with a lot of talent, but as you said, Nick, he struggled making the adjustment on the mound with the college game. Doesn't spot the fastball so well, and that's really something across this Penn State staff that's a big issue.
All right. Eric Bakich, the manager for Michigan in his 6th season. Looks like he's talking it over with some of his hitters on strategy, what to do. Looks like he's doing a little bit of man management there with freshman Jesse Franklin as Larkin continues to warm up. And the Michigan base runners return to their respective bases. And Engelman steps up into the box, and now Larkin is in there with the bases loaded. Let's see if he can give up any. See if he can hold the Wolverines to just 4 runs in this game.
And Larkin, also one of the firmer throwers on this Penn State staff, throws in the low 90s, but just doesn't really have anything that great to mix in with the fastball.
All right, crowd's excited here for Jonathan Engelman. Larkin, the righty, has the platoon advantage. And here's the first pitch, and it is a called strike 1 on the lower outside corner against Engelman. Go blue. All right. Engelman assumes his stance. Larkin delivers the 0-1 pitch. Swung on by Engelman. Looks like it's going to be launched into right field. And it's going to drop for a single as all the runners move up a base. As, oh my, mishandled by Joe Weisenseal. And both Thomas and Harrison Salter are going to come around to score. And the Wolverines have now put in 2 in this inning and have taken a 6-run lead.
And on that play there, that's the outfielder's play to make. That's his call to make communication-wise. The second baseman has to go such a long way, and he's going backwards, whereas the outfielder can come in. And while Kramer out and right was deep, we've seen a lot of miscues from him, whether it's taking bad angles to the baseball, not communicating well with the guys around him, and it's come back to haunt this Penn State teams. Then on the throwing area, you compound things by just not settling. You let things spiral, and the score just keeps growing on you. The Wolverines keep extending their lead, now up to 6.
All right. Here comes Jesse Franklin with runners on first and second. Swung on and missed the first pitch. Looked like he was aiming to hit the scoreboard there. And he is down 0-1.
And while Franklin does swing powerfully in it, like you said, Nick, it seems like he's trying to hit it to the scoreboard every time. It's such a clean, fluid swing, such a nice, easy leg lift. His hands come whooshing through the zone. You can probably hear it from up here. A beauty to see.
All right, Larkin's 0-1 delivery, and that is a called strike 1 on the outside half of the plate.
Really good spot there by Larkin. When you're working with really only the fastball, especially against a powerhouse hitter like Franklin, you got to be basically perfect when it comes to spotting up.
All right, and Franklin 1 for 2 today, 322 on the season. And Larkin takes the signal. Sloniger lines up over the heart of the plate. Now he moves to the inside half, and he steps off the mound, eyeing Christian Bullock there on second base. And they are, looks like they're going to count both of those runs as unearned. They're going to they're going to assess a muffed throw, and Franklin lines it deep into right field, and Kramer goes back to rob it, and he does not get it. That is a home run to deep right field, a 3-run shot there by Jesse Franklin, and the Wolverines now go up 9-0 in this 4th inning.
Nick, and I like to think you predicted that one. At the beginning of that bat, you said he's aiming for the scoreboard, and he hit the name below in the on-deck area, hit Blake Nelson's name, and now Nelson out to congratulate him. A beautiful swing by Franklin. That ball, he didn't even hit that in the center of that bat. It seemed like he caught that one off the cap for the most part, but Jesse Franklin just has incredible raw power, and that ball just kept carrying and carrying until it finally got out. A grand slam for the young freshman. Oh, excuse me, 3-run shot for the young freshman, but just continues to impress.
All right, and Blake Nelson steps up into the box now. 1 out, bases clear, infield playing deep. And Larkin, first pitch, and Nelson squares around to bunt, but pulls away in time. Pitch was high, ball 1. And Jesse Franklin has hit his 8th home run of the season. And here's the 1-0 delivery, and called first strike there on the low outside corner. Both pitchers, Kaufman, and both sides, Kaufman and then Lehman and now Larkin, really getting those calls on the outside corner. And Nelson belts it into center, straight to Jordan Bowersox. And there are now 2 away in this inning, in which the Nittany Lions have given up 5 runs. And Jordan Wogu hit a solo home run in the 3rd inning, is now up. See if he can hit another one.
Yeah, really good swing there by Nelson. Another fastball down the middle. And for Larkin, I'm really surprised that he hasn't peppered in a secondary pitch, even if it's a changeup that's not that great, at least something that has a speed differential to keep these Michigan hitters off balance, because right now these guys are hunting fastballs and taking powerful hacks.
All right, and Wogu takes a hack at that and grounds it into left field. Wogu will have another base hit this game, a single into left field. And now designated hitter Miles Lewis comes up.
And I know Wogu got a hit there, but on a fastball outside, he definitely hit it hard, barreled it up, but just kind of rolled his hands there. It was super early on that one. The biggest step for him to develop into an elite hitter, a guy who can hit cleanup at the higher levels, he's going to have to work to hitting to all fields, because normally you want to take that pitch, keep your legs underneath you, stay through it, and drive it the other way into the 3-4 hole. Nonetheless, though, the Wolverines will be content to have him on base and extend this lead possibly.
All right, here's the first pitch, taken low and outside for ball 1 to Miles Lewis. Book officially closed on Taylor Lehman's outing today. 3 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 7 runs, 5 earned. Of course, with those him being responsible for all 3 of those base runners, and they have all now come around to score. And Lewis swings and misses right there on the outside corner, and counts evened up 1-1. Wogu is on first.
And finally, it looked like a changeup there. That one really faded. Had some good action to it. It's just, I'd like to think Larkin doesn't have much confidence to throw it right on right, thinking he might run it in and hit guys, but still surprising he wouldn't have thrown it to Franklin.
All right, Sloniger lines up the inside half, and that pitch is taken low, 2-1. Wogu takes a little bit of a lead off. Doesn't try to steal that much, but he is 6 for 7 on stolen bases.
Yeah, Wogu on top of that, incredible power. Good speed out in the base paths. Good base runner, too. Really good fundamentals.
2-1, and it's going to get it high chopper to right to Joe Weisenseal, who casually flips it over to Logan Goodnight and second, and the Wolverines are done this inning. Connor Larkin comes in relief for Taylor Lehman, but allows all 3 base runners charged to Lehman come around to score, and then gives up 2 additional himself off of a 3-run shot straight to the scoreboard by Jesse Franklin. And now here with 4 innings completed here at Ray Fisher Stadium in Ann Arbor, the score here is Michigan 9, Penn State nothing. Here, you're listening here on WCBN. I am Nick Hornberg here with Adam Rich and Max Brill joining us later on in this broadcast.
And with the lead ever expanding, Kaufman will probably get 2 to 3 more innings in, just get his routine work, but really no need to bring in the top bullpen arms, as a lot of them were exhausted yesterday and shouldn't be needed with this 9-0 lead right now and a guy like Kaufman on the hill who's been attacking so well lately. I'm really hoping some of the guys, there are actually 2 guys on the team that I played against in high school. Logan Pollock, the middle infielder and outfielder. I'm hoping he can maybe get in at bat today. And the pitcher, Blake Beers, hasn't done so well to start the year, but an incredibly talented pitcher. I'm hoping he can get in later this afternoon.
You played against collegiate talent. Why aren't you out there?
Well, I sat in the mid-70s. I had an inconsistent curveball, and some days my changeup felt like it should be just as fast as my fastball. But, you know, some days I was able to compete with it. There were days where it ebbed and flowed, some days where I was really feeling it out there, and then other days where I didn't really have much of an idea where the ball was going. But I had some D3 interest. That kind of sounds like a brag, but I don't know. It's Southern California baseball is fun. There's a lot of great guys out there, you know.
Nice weather.
You don't get to face a lot of these guys just because there's so many teams out there, so many good teams you might not play. A lot of the best guys, like John Engelman's from about an hour and a half away, and we never would have ever faced his team, but that certainly would have been cool to play against him in his heyday.
Yeah, I never played beyond coach pitch. I think I once played around with a radar gun once. I think my fastball topped out at 45. But either way, we're happy to have you in the booth here. All right, and Kaufman, first pitch to Chris Kramer is grounded foul down the third base line.
And fresh off of that long rest and the 6 runs, Kaufman getting back to attacking on the hill, a great sight. You never want to be passive after a long delay.
All right, and that misses low and away, and count is evened up at 1-1. All right, Kaufman takes the signal. Salter lines up in the outside half. Here's the delivery, and taken outside, 2-1.
And Kaufman finally mixed up the sequence there, went fastball to slider to fastball, but not getting that slider over the dish for a strike on 0-1 came back to hurt him there. That was a good fastball, just a little bit off as well, a little off the black.
2-1 delivery, swung on, and looks like it's going to be lined into center field. Good play there by Engelman coming over to make that play, 1 away in the top of this 5th inning. Didn't have to lay out for it, but a good play nonetheless.
And yesterday we saw a fairly similar play where Engelman came basically charging in before he realized a line drive was going to keep working its way upwards because of the backspin and get over his head, but there made a better read. Didn't go back to start, which is a little bit of a flaw on the outfield. Actually went to his left, which was odd because the ball was far to his right, but that's what you get from the spin off the bat, or that's what you come to expect from righties, but nonetheless, good play out in the outfield by Engelman.
And the first pitch swung on and missed there by Logan Goodnight. Kaufman finds himself out ahead 0-1 again. No arms up to the bullpen. Looks like Bakich is, Coach Eric Bakich is going to be committed to Kaufman now for the near future. And here's the 0-1 delivery. And just outside, count is even 1-1. All right, and it is lined foul into the Wolverines bullpen. Almost a double down the left field line right there by Logan Goodnight.
And on the pitch there, when you throw that inside fastball and get it in off the plate on the black, the best thing a hitter can do with that for the most part is hook it foul, as we saw there. And although it was hit fairly hard, it just goes in the scorebook as strike 2.
All right, and Goodnight steps back into the box, perhaps a little bit disappointed with the way that ball sliced. Excuse me, that was a hook. And there's the 1-2, fouled back into the Penn State dugout. Well, okay, the ball came to rest on top of the Penn State dugout and taken by a Michigan Stadium attendant. And has given the ball to a young fan. All right, here's the 1-2 pitch from Kaufman. Swung on and missed there, and Goodnight is down on strikes, and now 2 outs in this inning.
Really good pitch there by Kaufman, continuing to attack. You love to see it, keeping his pitch count down and just being ever consistent against this not-so-great Penn State lineup.
All right, Salter takes his position, starts giving the signal, and the first pitch to Joe Weisenseal is low and outside for a ball 1. Provide a little bit of an update here. Michigan softball, as we said, beat Maryland today, and the 1-0 pitch is swung on, chopper, foul, and Wolverine softball pitcher Megan Bobian had a fantastic game, threw a complete game, 11 strikeouts, was 1 out away from a perfect game, and gave up a full count walk, to which she proceeded to get the next batter out and will merely complete her 3rd no-hitter of the season.
Wild. Now, it does sound a little off because softball pitchers can basically go every single day. Not much wear and tear on the arm, but an incredible performance by Bobian. She's only a freshman, right?
Yes.
So you can certainly get used to seeing her dominance on the hill and as this Michigan softball team works to get its way back to Oklahoma City for the finals.
As Kaufman throws another ball and another one there. Count is now 3-1, and he's in danger of walking Joe Weisenseal.
And against the 9-hitter, expect just a 0 right here from Kaufman. Put this pitch right down the middle. Let your defense work behind you.
And there is that fastball. Looks like a high pop into deep right field. Jordan Wogu moves under it and catches and gets the 3rd out. Kaufman now through 5 scoreless innings here going into the bottom of the 5th inning here at Ray Fisher Stadium. You're listening to WCBN. The score is still Michigan 9, Penn State nothing.
And sure, that ball's hit fairly hard, but just like the foul ball that becomes strike 2, that becomes the 3rd out of the inning, and pitchers don't really let how hard a ball is hit affect them. Really good job today by Kaufman so far of just staying aggressive, especially in these last 3 innings, to just put this Wolverine team further and further ahead, let the offense go back and go to work again.
All right, and Rob Cooper appears to have made the decision that he's seen enough of Connor Larkin today, and out comes Marko Boricic, a junior southpaw, to pitch this bottom of the 5th inning. And I would like to say thank you very much to Mr. Adam Rich for providing great insight today. And here for the rest of this broadcast, it's going to be me and Mr. Max Brill. Max, how's the game been going for you?
Game's been going wonderful. Wolverines up 9-0. Not a lot more to ask for than that. They've been playing fantastic. Jordan Wogu having a day at the dish. He's 2 for 2 with a walk, 2 RBI, and that home run in the 3rd inning. Jesse Franklin added his 8th home run of the year. He's been one of the biggest hitters for this team all year, and both of them just freshmen, which goes to show you how bright the future of this program is.
It's always good to see. And Marko Boricic, another bullpen arm by Penn State, who A, pitched yesterday, and B, has a 7+ ERA, 7.58 on the season with a whip of 2.11. Really, the Nittany Lions bullpen hasn't really been able to catch a break much of this season, and you'll see, unfortunately for them, that has continued.
Yeah, Boricic, we saw yesterday, he was allowed to pitch to 1 batter, wanted for that lefty-on-lefty matchup, and ended up hitting Jesse Franklin. So trying to reverse that fate today. Hopefully retire a couple guys here, and I'm sure Rob Cooper is just looking for some quality innings out of the bullpen at this point.
Yeah, there isn't really a whole lot you can do now. Of course, the Wolverines really gotten out in front of the Nittany Lions this inning, taking a 9-0 lead as Harrison Salter steps into the box.
Yeah, Salter today is 0 for 1 with a walk and came around to score in the 4th inning. This is his first start of the series. He's been the one to catch Kaufman most of the season, if not all, because they have been together for a long time. Salter was Kaufman's catcher in Little League and has joined him here at Michigan. Takes strike 1 over the middle from the new pitcher, Marko Boricic. So the book closed now on Connor Larkin. We'll get you his stat line in just a second. Salter flies this one out to right. Chris Kremer ranges under it and hauls that one in for out number 1.
Good start there by Marko Boricic. We've talked about Carl Kaufman really in these last few innings has really come on in this game, really getting batters out quickly, and that right there, good start for Boricic. As we said, pitchers really at lower levels, college, minor leagues, really benefit from getting through batters quickly, and there's only 2 pitches there to Harrison Salter. Good start there by Marko Boricic.
So Jack Blomgren now at the plate. fouls. This pitch, hard rope down the first base line into the parking lot.
I don't hear any breaking glass.
That one looked pretty good in terms of car safety. So everybody okay for now out there. Blomgren today is 0 for 1 with a walk on the series. Just 1 for 10, but he's got 3 walks and had the game-winning RBI yesterday as he swings through a fastball for strike 2. Also scored 2 runs in the series.
And Adam talked about, earlier in the broadcast, Adam talked about Blomgren's power. It looked like he's really swinging for the fences on that one. Really looks like he's trying, obviously his average isn't where he'd want it. He's really trying to up his power in compensation.
Blomgren, earlier this season during the Michigan State series, had a really, really nice weekend. Was able to get his average nearly above 250, and since then it's kind of been falling a little bit. But he's been a defensive stalwart at shortstop, and sometimes when you have that kind of a glove, as he takes a curveball that flies all the way to the backstop to even the count up at 2-2, when you have that kind of glove, it's really, really easy to excuse a 216 batting average.
Well, Blomgren's only a freshman, and he's showed decent plate discipline, drawing a few walks, and hopefully he'll improve. But, yeah, now he's really trying to avoid the typecast as kind of a Cliff Pennington-esque defensive specialist there out at shortstop.
Blomgren swings through strike 3 on the outside corner, and that'll bring up the top of the lineup, Akeo Thomas, who is 1 for 3 today in the series. He is 3 for 12 with 3 runs scored, an RBI, and a walk. Single to right field in his last at-bat. And looking to prevent the Wolverines from going down 1-2-3 here. Takes the first pitch, a fastball outside for ball 1 from Marco Boricic.
And that hit very important to Akeo Thomas. Really, these last few weeks, every Wolverine hitter has improved their average a lot, with one exception, the exception of Akeo Thomas. Unfortunately, he hasn't really hit as well as everyone else, or as he hoped he should, and as much as we know he's capable of. So good for him to get that hit right there and get back out on the base paths.
Thomas took over the middle for strike 1 and takes that one inside. Has to hop out of the way for ball 2. So the count now 2-1 with 2 out here and nobody on in the bottom of the 5th inning here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Akeo Thomas at the bat. Marco Boricic on the bump for Penn State. Looks in, gets his sign, and fires. Thomas drives this one deep to center field, but Jordan Bowersox right under it and hauls that one in. It's a 1-2-3 inning for Marco Boricic. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on base. And at the end of 5, it's the Michigan Wolverines 9, the Penn State Nittany Lions 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio's coverage of Michigan baseball here on this Sunday afternoon. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. And Boricic doing a good job of stopping the bleeding there after a disastrous 4th for Penn State.
Well, that's exactly what Penn State needed right there. Boricic comes in, calms everyone down, works a quick inning right there. And if you're Akeo Thomas, I know you're disappointed that you didn't get that hit there. But if I'm manager Eric Bakich, I'm not all that concerned, because quite simply that was a hard line drive. Of course, it was right to Kramer there in right field. But really, there comes a point when you're hitting the ball hard, it's eventually going to, in Thomas's case, improve to the mean. Of course, I can think of two seasons ago, Paul Goldschmidt had a rough season at the plate, really only hitting 240, 250 in May, but his percentage of balls in play hit hard was astronomically high, and ultimately by the end of the season, his average was back up to 300, up to 25 homers on that season. So as Thomas is still hitting the ball hard, if I'm Eric Bakich and if I'm Thomas, I'm not all that concerned.
And Paul Goldschmidt and Akeo Thomas, certainly very different players in terms of what they're able to do at the dish. Thomas known for his slap hitting and speed on the base paths. Goldschmidt more of a power hitter, but either way, if you're hitting the ball hard, it bodes well for your batting average, and Thomas for sure will be able to turn it around if he keeps making hard contact like he has been throughout this season. The good thing for Coach Eric Bakich and the rest of this Wolverine squad is that he's still getting on base at a nearly 400 clip. So when that's your on-base percentage out of the leadoff slot, you don't need to be hitting, 320.
And that's the reason why he's still in the leadoff slot with his 385 on-base percentage. Well, his average, of course, as we've said, his average isn't really what we want it to be. As we said, leads the team in walks. Probably going to be actually, that's probably going to remain that way till the end of the season. That's very impressive. Now imagine how high his on-base percentage is going to be if he can improve his average up to about 270, 280 by the end of the season.
Well over 400, I'd imagine. So Carl Kaufman now looking in, and the leadoff hitter for Penn State, who swings through strike 1. Jordan Bowersox on the day, 1-for-2. singled in the first inning. That's Penn State's lone hit on the day. Kaufman has not allowed a single hit since then in the first inning. Bower Sox on the series is 5 for 13 with 2 runs and 2 RBI. Kaufman fires a breaking pitch over for strike 2, and it's 0-2.
And good start here by Kaufman throwing strikes. We talked about Kaufman isn't always the greatest when he gets behind in the count, which is a common refrain for many young pitchers. But good to see him starting out 0-2 in this inning.
Kaufman working from the windup, fires the 0-2, and it's fouled back by Bower Sox. Kaufman's really been spectacular since that first inning. The lone hit to Bower Sox since then only allowed 2 base runners, 1 on a walk and 1 on an error. He's retired 11 straight hitters and has 7 strikeouts on the day.
Yeah, Kaufman, really, as we said, started off, he was a little bit shaky. In the first 2 innings, he gave up a few more base runners than he probably should have, but really, since the second, he's really settled down.
Kaufman looking to hit the outside corner, but throws that one about a foot off the plate, so the count moves to 1-2 with nobody out here in the top of the 6th inning. Michigan leading Penn State by a score of 9-0. Jordan Bower Sox, the center fielder, swings and misses at strike 3, so Kaufman's got his 8th strikeout of the day and has retired 12 in a row here. 1 out in the top of the 6th.
Working very efficiently here, as we said, 8 strikeouts against 1 walk and 1 hit. And in 5 1/3 innings has only thrown 66 pitches. He could go, at this rate, he could probably go 6, or at the discretion of Eric Bakich, could go up to 7.
Well, it's looking like he will be able to get through the 6th with ease if he keeps pitching like he has been over the past few innings. Has not allowed a single base runner since the 2nd. Kaufman working from the windup, fires the 0-0 pitch to Ryan Sloniger, the opposing catcher, outside for ball 1. Sloniger on the day, 0-for-2, reached on a fielder's choice in the first inning and grounded out to Akeo Thomas in the 3rd. Takes the 1-0 outside for ball 2. Sloniger on the series, 4 for 11, 2 runs scored. Not much else doing for him at the dish, but he has been one of the better hitters for this Penn State lineup so far. Kaufman, the 2-0, is low and outside for ball 3, so Kaufman in danger of allowing his first base runner since the 2nd inning here. It's a 3-0 count on Ryan Sloniger with 1 out.
Yeah, that's one thing to keep track of. He's throwing, really in the first 2 innings especially, he threw a few too many balls. Now he really needs to work to get this guy out.
And a get-me-over fastball for strike 1. Count now moves to 3-1. Kaufman still working from the windup. He's been very comfortable from there today. The 3-1 is a fastball. This one drove into center field. Engelman ranges to his left and corrals that one for out number 2.
That's good right there from Kaufman. Of course, he's behind 3-0, not a position any pitcher wants to be in, but first getting that called strike 1, which is might as well be a given. No hitter swings at 3-0, and then getting Sloniger to swing on that second one. That's a line drive to center field. Good range demonstrated there by Engelman to make that play, and now 2 away in this inning.
So Connor Kleeman coming up to the dish, right-handed infielder. He's 0-for-2 today with 2 strikeouts. And Kaufman delivers a curveball in for strike 1. Kleeman on the series, 2 for 13 with 2 runs and 3 RBI. Hails from Royersford, Pennsylvania. Kaufman's 0-1 is swung on and chopped down the third baseline. Nelson is going to let that go foul. And the count now moves to 0-2.
Another 0-2 count right there, and that's the reason why Kaufman appears to be staying in the game. Coach Bakich appears to be completely committed to him. Looks like there's a marginal activity at best there. It looks like a warm-up. There's a warm-up catcher who's got his lower body gear on, but nobody's up and pitching. Nobody's stretching. And it looks like Kaufman's still got, for the time being, Kaufman is still secure there on the mound.
Yeah, you could hear a pin drop out there in the Michigan bullpen. Really nothing doing out there. And Kaufman's been stellar, so no reason to get anybody up behind him. The 0-2 here from Kaufman, swung on and missed, strike 3. So Kaufman retires the side in order, picks up 2 more strikeouts to move his total to 9 on the day. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left for Penn State in the top of the 6th. We move to the bottom of the 6th here at Ray Fisher Stadium. It's the Michigan Wolverines 9 and the Penn State Nittany Lions 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio's coverage of Michigan baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. And Kaufman has now pitched 4 consecutive perfect innings. He's retired 14 in a row. just looking flat out dominant with only 74 pitches through 6 innings.
Yep, Kaufman 74 pitches, 49 strikes. Maybe you hope for a few more strikes with that pitch count, but not much to complain about aside from that. 21 batters faced, 9 have struck out, only 1 has walked, and only 1 has gotten a hit. And that hit was in the first inning. That was a little bit of a fielding miscue there by Blake Nelson. Not enough to merit an error, but still easily could have been a ground out. So there's not a whole lot you can do there. But, yeah, fantastic there by Kaufman.
Penn State's only hit 4 balls out of the infield today. Bauer Sox's hit was an infield single. Blomgren ate that up way in the hole over there at shortstop. But 3 flyouts to Engelman in center field, 1 flyout to Wogu in left field. And aside from that, it's been strikeouts and ground balls. So Kaufman really having a day today. For Michigan, it will be Chris Bullock, Jonathan Engelman, Jesse Franklin due up in the 6th inning. Bullock today will be leading it off. He's 0 for 1, popped out foul to the catcher Ryan Sloniger in the 2nd inning and has 2 walks and 2 runs. Aside from that, he's been doing the majority of Michigan's scoring in this series. He's got 7 runs in just 3 games.
Christian Bullock, sometimes you watch him, he can come across as a bit of an energy guy, a little bit of a hot head. Obviously, we talked about he appeared to take exception to getting hit in the back of the shoulder yesterday and followed that off with a home run. But really now today you're seeing his patience, plate discipline, really doesn't get credit for being an excellent all-around hitter.
And not someone known for his plate discipline, but he takes ball 1 outside there from Marco Boricic, who's on for his 2nd inning of work. Bullock, a .302 hitter with a .349 OBP, 6 walks and just over 125 plate appearances this season. And Bullock lines this one out to center field, but Bauer Sox back on the track, makes the catch for the first out of the 6th.
Well, that was looks like he almost tried to pull that one a little bit. That pitch was on the inside. Looks like he muscled into the center field. Now that did slice a little bit away from him. Maybe that wasn't his intent, but either way, it didn't look like he didn't look like he rolled with the pitch location. Tried to guide it a little bit, and still a good contact. It really went about 375, 380 feet into straightaway center field, but not quite far enough, and not a hard play in the end there for Jordan Bauer Sox.
So Jonathan Engelman, the Wolverines center fielder, coming up to the plate now. He's 1 for 2 with a walk today, 2 runs scored. And this one taken high for ball 1. Engelman on the series has scored 5 runs, driven in 6. He has a home run as well, 6 on the season now. And he's added a walk, really been doing it all at the dish for Michigan. And he drives this one into the left center field gap. It's going to fall for a base hit, but Bauer Sox able to cut it off. As Engelman rounds first, he'll head back there, and Jonathan Engelman on with his 2nd hit of the day.
Really, these Penn State these Penn State outfielders, really, I know Adam talked about Chris Kramer taking some wrong routes, but really a lot of these guys, especially Bauer Sox in center, have really done an excellent job cutting the ball off, keeping singles from turning into doubles.
Bauer Sox has been fantastic out there in center field, done more than just cut off balls in the gap. He's been pretty solid at the plate for Penn State as well. So it's Jesse Franklin now at the dish. He's already got 1 home run today, 2 on the series. Swings and misses at the breaking pitch from Boricic for strike 1.
That's something he's really going to have to learn how to handle in coming years, that breaking ball. That's really, I'd say, if today and yesterday, that's really the 3rd or 4th time a pitcher has led with a breaking ball and he's fallen for it.
So Boricic working from the stretch delivers the high breaking pitch to even up the count at 1-1. 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Jonathan Engelman, the runner on first base. Jesse Franklin at the plate for Michigan. And Marco Boricic on for his 2nd inning of work on the bump for Penn State. Boricic working from the stretch. Franklin hitting from the left side. The fastball taken on the outside corner for strike 2.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Obviously, really this whole series, hitters from both sides have really, pitchers from both sides have been getting that call on the outside of the zone. Adam mentioned Greg Maddox. I suppose that's a pretty apt comparison. But yeah, that's one that it's hard to swing at a pitch like that.
As Franklin takes the 4th pitch of the AB in the dirt outside for ball 2, so the count now even at 2-2. Franklin today is 2 for 3 with a home run, a single, 4 RBI, and a strikeout. Much like Engelman, he stuffed the stat sheet over the course of this series against Penn State as he fouls this one back right near the press box. A little to our left here.
It's okay.
Nearly caught the head of a fan, but everybody's unscathed.
It's okay. It rolls a little over to the left towards Yost Ice Arena.
So we'll do it again here with a 2-2 count, 1 out and runner on first base in the bottom of the 6th. Wolverines leading Penn State 9-0. Boricic, the lefty, comes set and delivers a breaking pitch outside, so the count runs full at 3-2.
And Boricic, really, after starting out 1-2 in this count, really falling behind a little bit. And now the count has run full, and he's in danger of giving up a walk.
Boricic hit Franklin with a pitch yesterday. Engelman goes from first. Franklin swings through it, but Engelman has the steal at second base. Umpire waits a second to give the safe call, but Engelman in there safely with his 13th stolen base of the season.
I can't tell if Bakich made the decision to put the hit and run on with 2 strikes. It'd be a little bit of a curious decision, but Engelman, as we talked about, now 13 for 19 on the base paths, stolen base, now tied with Akeo Thomas for most steals on the team. And Bakich again using his runners aggressively. A little unfortunate there that Franklin struck out, but good steal there by Engelman. Get a runner in scoring position with 2 outs.
So Blake Nelson, the third baseman for Michigan, 0 for 3 today, but 6 for 13 in the series. He reached on an error in the first inning and got an RBI for that. 0-1 as he fouls the first pitch back to the screen. He's got 8 RBI now in the series against Penn State, so the middle of this Michigan lineup has really been doing it all since the beginning of the series. And Boricic will call time and request that his catcher, Ryan Sloniger, come out for a little chat.
Yeah, it's probably the best. Sloniger, even though the score may not reflect it, Sloniger's actually done a decent job behind the plate today. Him and Bowersox, I'd say, are the standout performers for Penn State and defense so far this series. Sloniger coming out, keeping these pitchers calm.
Bowersox and Sloniger, the 1-2 hitters for Penn State. Also the center fielder and catcher, respectively, for this Nittany Lions squad. So they are some of the more talented defensive players on this team. Blake Nelson digs back in and lines the 0-1 into right field. It falls, and Engelman will round third and come home. So Blake Nelson picking up his 9th RBI of the series, 2nd of the day, and Michigan has improved their run total to double digits.
Yeah, it's impressive right there. Good hit right there. Looked like that's another one that he tried to pull it a little bit, and actually looks like he succeeded. Pulled into right field, dropped in front of Kramer. Kramer actually took a decent route to the ball, but wasn't a whole lot he could do there. And now Nelson has his RBI. Is now the 5th Wolverines player to have a hit today.
So Jordan Wogu, who's been an absolute stud today, exhibiting extraordinary confidence at the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a walk, 2 RBI, and a home run. Takes the first pitch high and away for ball 1. On the series, including today's work, he's 3 for 9 with 4 RBI and a walk and run scored. The home run as well in the 3rd inning. She drove over the left field wall. Takes the second pitch outside for ball 2. Count now 2-0 with 2 outs here and a runner on first in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, if he can, obviously he has I believe the highest on-base percentage of the team, up in the 400s. Really, of all the freshmen, I'd say his star is the brightest right now. Really going to be a force in the coming years.
And he takes a fastball outside for ball 3. So just like that, Boricic behind 3-0 on Wogu. And on deck is Miles Lewis, the designated hitter, who is hitless today. So perhaps Boricic pitching around Wogu, who has plagued this Penn State lineup all day. And the 3-0 taken outside for ball 4, so Wogu will trot down to first base with a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, I'm a little curious there on Max on what you think of the walk, of the theory of walks. A 4-pitch walk versus, shall we say, an 8-pitch walk. Obviously, a 4-pitch walk, you're not expending as much energy, but you've thrown 4 straight balls.
In this case, Jordan Wogu is somebody who we've seen strike out quite a bit this year. So I'm not surprised necessarily that Boricic opted to kind of pitch around Wogu, but either way, it makes sense. The righty-on-lefty matchup, Wogu has the advantage there. He's been really hot today. And Boricic choosing to go after Miles Lewis instead, who's 0 for 3 on the day. A fly out to left, a ground out to short, and a fielder's choice in the 4th inning takes the first pitch low for ball 1.
Well, if that was the decision made, I can sort of understand it. Obviously, Lewis not really had a great season at DH, only hitting .225, and Wogu, strikeout or not, did just put one over the left field wall earlier in this game.
The 1-0 is driven through the short third gap. Lewis lines that one into center field and into left field, and the Wolverines will bring home their 11th run of the day. It's an RBI single for Miles Lewis.
There's my announcer reverse jinx again.
So the Wolverines lead it now 11-0. Miles Lewis picks up his first hit of the day and second RBI of the series. So perhaps the unintentional intentional walk from Boricic coming back to bite him here in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, and now some more activity in the Penn State bullpen. Can't really see a number, but it looks like trying to make it out. I think it looks like number 44, Bailey Deese, a right-handed pitcher from Charlotte.
As this pitch is in the dirt and it bounces away from Sloniger, the runners will both move up. Lewis to second and Wogu to third. So runners in scoring position here for Harrison Salter, the catcher, who has yet to have a hit on the day, one of just 3 Wolverines without a hit.
And, of course, Salter really hasn't played much this season. Obviously, the backup catcher to Brock Keener, and looks like Keener really is going to have the day off. I think Salter is going to be given the full game, which I suppose is probably the best for him. Give Keener a little bit of rest, give him some game time. So we'll see what
Boricic's 1-0 is fouled back to the screen. The count moves to 1-1.
Obviously, when you're not getting regular at-bats, it can be a little difficult to establish yourself at the plate unless you're a designated pinch hitter, which Harrison Salter really is not. But he hasn't done terribly. 289 average, 308 OBP. So
Salter drives this one right up the middle into center field, and the Wolverines will add 2 more to their run total. It's a 2 RBI single for Harrison Salter. He picks up his first hit of the day, and the Wolverines now lead it 13-0.
I got to talk more about how guys are having rough seasons.
Nick, I feel like every time you say this guy's just not having it at the plate right now, having a little bit of a tough day, RBI single, RBI double.
All right, let's keep it going. Jack Blomgren, of course, only hitting .214, the lowest average on the Wolverines lineup. Let's see if he can get it in. Let's see if he can get it in order today.
So Blomgren coming up to the dish. On the series, he's just 1 for 11. Drives this one into right field for his first hit of the day. Nick, it worked. Blomgren picking up
the
Thomas, 3rd consecutive Wolverines hit.
Akeo Thomas already has a hit today. I can't help him.
And Akeo Thomas now the 9th Michigan hitter to come to the plate in this inning. On the day, he's 1 for 4 with a single and run scored in the 4th. Now every single starter in the Michigan lineup has reached base safely. Chris Bullock, the only one without a hit.
He has 2 walks.
And 2 runs scored as well. But for now, it'll be Akeo Thomas at the plate with Bullock in the on-deck circle. Boricic delivers the first pitch a little inside for a called ball 1. And the Wolverines have done a fantastic job of hitting with 2 outs in this inning. They have 4 2-out hits and 5 straight base runners. All of their runs have scored with 2 outs in this inning. The 1-0 to Thomas is lined up the middle. That's a base hit. And Salter coming around third. They're going to wave him home. Bauer Sox coming up. The throw will be cut off. So the Wolverines now lead at 14-0 as Jack Blomgren heads to third base. And Akeo Thomas picks up his first RBI of the day.
Kind of starting to remind me of the 2012 Tigers right there. Remember watching them, they would always start innings rough, and then ultimately by the end of the season, like 65-70% of their runs were scored with 2 outs. And they even started the season a little bit rough, kind of like this Michigan team. Now, the Tigers never won an obscene amount of games in a row, but this team coming on strong as the season has progressed.
And we're going to get a pitching change here at Ray Fisher Stadium. Marco Boricic coming in, stopping the bleeding, getting the Nittany Lions only 1-2-3 inning in the 5th, but in the 6th, the wheels have completely fallen off And you can hear Bad Day by Daniel Powder playing over the speakers. That's a little bit mean, don't you think? Kind of to taunt the opposing team. Wolverines up 14-zip. If it was a rivalry game, a huge rivalry game, I might understand it, but
that's a little bit painful. You can play that when they're playing Ohio State in football, but a little bit saving grace of that is that it's a great song.
It is a fantastic song. I definitely have to agree with you there. So we'll get a right-hander here now on the mound for the Penn State Nittany Lions. It is number 44.
Bailey Deese.
Bailey Deese, as you mentioned before. Deese on the season has been, well, I wouldn't exactly call him one of the standout pitchers for the Penn State bullpen, but then again.
Who is?
Yeah, it's been a rough go of things for the Penn State bullpen and starting staff in this series, giving up 19 runs on Friday, surrendering 8 yesterday, and then 14 again today. You just got to wonder if you're Michigan, are we all hit out now for this upcoming week? They have a weekend series against Iowa.
Well, I prefer not to think about that. I prefer not to think of runs as a zero-sum thing. Keeps my hopes up. But Bailey Deese, one of the taller guys on the staff, 6'7", weighs 240, as I said previously, from Charlotte, North Carolina. Got a little bit of an overarm delivery. Actually, reminds me, speaking of 2012 Tigers, reminds me a bit of Doug Fister, using his height and his overarm delivery to his advantage to pound the strike zone.
He has had a little trouble pounding the strike zone this season. 9 walks in just 10 2/3 innings pitched, but he's done a good job of retiring opposing batters via the strikeout with 13 Ks. So averaging more than 1 strikeout per inning. It's always good to see.
Well, what's going on in his favor? Oh, here we go again. See what he has in his favor is his first batter is going to be Christian Bullock, the only Wolverine hitter today to have yet to get a hit.
So Deese will face Bullock.
I also said that about 2 previous batters this inning.
Not implying anything, maybe implying something, but just not saying it outright. Deese working from the middle of the rubber, the right-hander, fires the first pitch inside for ball 1. Chris Bullock batting from the left side with runners on the corners and 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Michigan's already pushed across 5 in the frame. They lead at 14-0. Bullock today, as you mentioned, Nick, 0 for 2 with 2 walks and 2 runs scored. The lone Wolverine hitter without a hit today. The 1-0 from Deese is taken on the inside corner for strike 1, so the count now even up at 1-1. Chris Bullock, the Chicago, Illinois product, sophomore outfielder, standing in at 6 foot 170, known for his speed on the base paths. Deese looks in, gets his sign, and fires the 1-1 high and outside for ball 2.
Another walk here would be impeccable for Bullock. Obviously, as we said, Deese has an ERA above 7, has a WHIP of 2.5. So another situation where you can load the bases, get Jonathan Engelman up again, and that would be fantastic. Put on some more runs in this inning.
And Bullock grounds this one down the third baseline, just a little foul. Looking for the extra base hit there. Unable to get it, so the count will move to 2-2 with 2 out here in the bottom of the 6th. Runners on first and third. And this is Bullock's second at-bat of the inning. He flew out to center field earlier in this inning against Borisic. And that was Borisic's 4th straight hitter retired. But after that, as we see, the wheels kind of fell off. Deese comes set at the belt and fires the 2-2. Bullock lines this one into right field.
Oh.
But Chris Kramer makes the leaping catch over there and right to rob Bullock of an extra base hit.
And he's mad.
A fantastic play there by Kramer. Bullock slams his helmet on his leg. But the Wolverines do push across a handful in the inning, 5 runs total.
He's mad. My reverse jinx didn't work, and he saw that ball going into outfield. I think he thought he had a triple on his hands, which had it dropped, he very well would have been. But a little unfortunate for there, but good contact. Not a whole lot you can do. Excellent play there in right field by Chris Kramer.
So it's 5 runs, all earned in the inning, scored by the Wolverines on 6 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on at the end of 6. It's Michigan 14, Penn State 0. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio's coverage of Michigan Wolverines baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg, and 9-0 going into the inning, 14 zip coming out of it, and we still see Carl Kaufman out there on the bump. Let's take a trip around the Big Ten. Right now, Michigan standing at a perfect 10-0, undefeated in Big Ten play, followed by Minnesota at 9-1, Illinois at 9-3, Indy at 7-3, OSU at 7-4, Purdue at 6-4, Iowa at 6-6, Michigan State at 5-5, and then Rutgers, Nebraska, Maryland, Northwestern, and Penn State rounding out the conference. Right now, Grand Canyon taking on Illinois and actually beating them by a score of 5-2 in the bottom of the ninth. Illinois looking to come back from that. Illinois currently sitting at third in the Big Ten, so that would be a huge upset for Grand Canyon out of the Western Athletic Conference. Nebraska trailing Rutgers 8-4 in the bottom of the eighth. Rutgers at home. Purdue is in College Park, Maryland, and they're winning 7-6 in the top of the seventh. Indiana and Ohio State knotted up in Columbus at 4 in the top of the sixth. Iowa taking on Minnesota in Minnesota. Iowa leading that one 3-0 in the top of the fifth. And in the bottom of the second, it's Michigan State 3, Northwestern 0 in Evanston, Illinois. So Karl Kaufman back out on the bump for the seventh. He'll face off against Parker Hendershot, who has been the best hitter for the Penn State Nittany Lions in this series. First pitch, a fastball over the middle for strike one.
Hendershot, as previously mentioned, of course, has been very dangerous this series, but they've kept him quiet so far this game. 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a ground out.
And on the series, he's 4 for 9 with 4 walks and 4 runs batted in. Another strike there from Kaufman to move the count quickly to 0-2. And Kaufman now looking to retire his 15th straight hitter here. The 0-2 pitch. A curveball grounded foul down the third base line. I'd say that was about 4 to 5 inches foul.
Yeah,
nearly grazed third base.
That's very close.
So lucky break there for Kaufman. He'll get to do it again at 0-2. Nobody out here in the top of the seventh. So Michigan with a 2-touchdown lead here in the top of the seventh inning. Score is 14-0. Karl Kaufman comes set and delivers. Swung on and missed, strike 3, and Karl Kaufman there with his 10th strikeout of the day.
That's excellent right there. That's exactly what you need. As we said, Hendershot now has his 2nd strikeout of the day, and they've really done an impeccable job against the Nittany Lions' best hitter all season.
I think one of the most impressive parts of Kaufman's performance today is that 9 of his 10 strikeouts have come swinging, which means he's not getting a whole lot of help from the umpires. He's just going out there and just flat out dominating these hitters. First pitch to Curtis Robinson, the first baseman hitting in the 5-hole today, is taken outside for ball 1.
Looked like he was squaring out to bunt today, as of course we remarked yesterday. A lot of bunts, but this one no one's on base, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of bunting today.
Robinson swings and fouls this one down the first base line, so the count moves to 1-1. Robinson today is 0 for 1 with a strikeout and a walk in the series. Has yet to get a hit. He's 0 for 7 with 3 strikeouts. Karl Kaufman working from the first base side of the rubber from the windup, comes set and fires. Robinson swings through this fastball for strike 2. And Penn State just having all sorts of trouble timing up Kaufman's stuff today. He's done a fantastic job of mixing up his breaking pitches and his fastballs. The 1-2 to Robinson is taken low for ball 2, so the count now even at 2-2.
Yeah, I think it's a case in Penn State's case. I think it's a case of Wolverines got up on them early, and I think they're getting a little bit flustered, trying to earn themselves back. And just as the lead's grown, they've gotten more and more hurried up there in the batter's box.
The 2-2 pitch from Kaufman goes flying to the backstop. Looked like he just lost the grip on that one a little as it was out of the reach of the catcher, Harrison Salter. So the count now full at 3-2. Curtis Robinson, a 149 hitter on the season with a 296 OBP, has 19 walks to 22 strikeouts, a good ratio for the freshman. The 3-2 is grounded right back to Kaufman off his glove. A Thomas able to come up with it, and it'll be a 1-4-3 putout. Don't see that every day, but Kaufman retires his 16th in a row there.
I don't know if Kaufman meant to do that, but that was a good play. If that doesn't hit him, that probably rolls right into shallow center field, and his streak of retired batters ends, but bounced right off his glove, bounced perfectly for a KO Thomas. Good job by Thomas there to fire over to first. Really, center of this infield with Thomas and Blomgren, really the strength of this team defense, and now 2 away in this inning.
Kaufman's first pitch to the 6th hitter, Braxton Giovanni, is fouled down the third baseline, so the count 0-1 on him. Today, Giovanni 0 for 2 with a fly out to Engelman in center field and a strikeout swinging. Second pitch is driven into center field. Engelman ranging over. He's not going to get there. The first hit since the second inning for the Penn State Nittany Lions, and Gividoni will pull in at second base. Their first extra base hit of the day.
Yeah, and as you said, first hit in 5 innings. Now obviously it's unfortunate for Kaufman that ends, but that's really a testament to how well he's done this inning. And now they have a right-handed pitcher up in the bullpen. Can't see behind a lighting pole, but looks like it might be Jeff Criswell. But Kaufman looks like he's gonna finish out this 7th inning, and he should be allowed to with a 14-run lead, and really how well he's done this game.
At only 82 pitches on the day as he throws the first pitch to Chris Kramer, the right fielder, taken low for ball 1. Kramer on the day 0 for 2, reached on an error by the third baseman Blake Nelson in the 2nd, and flew out to Engelman in the 5th. Let's get back to Gividoni for a second. He's been one of their power sources in this series. Hit that tying home run yesterday in the 9th inning, and first extra base hit for the team here today. Stands on second base with 2 out as Kramer fouls this one down the first base line into the parking lot. And that one bounces over a car, but not on it. So
yeah, hit the asphalt.
Everyone's vehicle safe for now.
Yes, Gividoni, just looking at him, not a particularly imposing player. Looks just at first glance a small, diminutive left fielder.
Well, he's just 5'10".
Yeah, taller. That's shorter than me. But but as you said, pinch hit 9th inning yesterday over the left field wall, which of course is very high here at Ray Fisher. And now another extra base hit.
Kramer takes a curveball over for a strike. The count moves to 1-2, and Kaufman 1 strike away from getting out of this inning unscathed. It's a 1-2 count with 2 out here and a runner on second in the top of the 7th inning. Carl Kaufman on the mound working on Chris Kramer for the 3rd time today. Comes set at the chest, delivers, and Kramer fouls this one down the third base line into the Wolverines bullpen, a chopper. Kramer, the freshman, also stands at 5'10", from Hershey, Pennsylvania. Looking to get his first hit of the day. He's 2 for 7, including today's work in the series. Kaufman comes set at the chest and fires out of the stretch. This one bounces away from Salter, and Gividoni's going to move up to third base. So a runner on third with 2 out here in the count at 2-2.
Well, that's the second pitch, really, in the last few minutes has gotten away from Harrison Salter. I think Kaufman may be losing a little bit of his command here. Had a fantastic outing, and looks like, now the warm-up catcher going back to the dugout. Looks like I wouldn't be surprised if this is Kaufman's last inning. Actually, this may be Kaufman's last batter.
The 2-2 is roped into left field. That's going to get down for extra bases. Wogu plays it off the wall and fires into second base, but not before Chris Kramer slides into second base safely with an RBI double. And Penn State now on the board. It's 14-1 here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, good play there by Kramer. And that's, I think, really Kramer might be feeling a little energy right now. Fantastic play in right field an inning ago. Eric Baggett still not moving. Doesn't feel inclined to remove Kaufman. So I can't really blame him. Logan Goodnight's up hitting sub 200. And I have no problem at all letting Kaufman finish out this inning.
Kaufman allowed just 1 hit through his first 6 2/3, and now back-to-back extra base hits here in the top of the 7th. So Kaufman working on Logan Goodnight, the shortstop for the Nittany Lions today, delivers a fastball low and outside for ball 1. Goodnight 0 for 2 with a strikeout looking and a strikeout swinging today. Kaufman will try to ring him up for a 3rd time here. And it looks like we actually have a pinch hitter. I don't know that that's Goodnight at the dish. And it's not. It's Conlon Hughes, who started at second base in yesterday's contest, who swings through a fastball on the outside corner. So the count 1-1 on Conlon Hughes, who will presumably head over to second base after this inning is done, and Joe Weisenseal will move over to short.
Yeah, I can't really say I understand that decision there. Conlon Hughes hits, I believe he's only hitting in the 140s, so I don't really see an improvement there in the pinch hitters. Obviously, when you put on the pinch hitter, you try to improve your probability of getting a hit. I don't really think you see that with Conlon. He was interesting to wonder what manager Rob Cooper is thinking.
So Conlon Hughes now behind 1-2. Kaufman working from the first base side of the rubber, comes set at the chest and fires. Hughes just barely gets a piece of it. So he'll stay alive and look to get another hit, what would be the third straight hit off of Karl Kaufman, who's been spotless except for the lone blemish in the 7th inning. Conlon Hughes hitting from the right side. Comes set. Kaufman ready to fire the 1-2. Chris Kremer out there on second base. The 1-2 is fouled into the parking lot, so we will do it again. Conlon Hughes doing a good job of fighting off Karl Kaufman stuff here behind in the at-bat.
That bounced off the pavement, don't worry. If you have a car parked in by Ray Fisher Stadium, it's safe for now.
Conlon Hughes in a pinch hitting appearance on Friday went 1-for-1 and scored a run in the 9th inning. The 1-2 swung on and missed, strike 3, and that will likely end Karl Kaufman's day. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left on base for Penn State there in the top of the 7th inning. A fantastic outing from Karl Kaufman, as you can hear the crowd cheering. And at the end of 6 1/2, we're ready to stretch here at Ray Fisher Stadium. It's Michigan 14, Penn State 1. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio's coverage of Michigan Wolverines baseball. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. And Nick, let me know what you think about Karl Kaufman's performance today.
Well, I didn't realize Max Scherzer was starting today. But no, that's absolutely fantastic work there by Karl Kaufman. You said it, the full stat, 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk against 11 strikeouts. Faced 26 batters, 2 extra base hits, and his ERA on the season has dropped to 2.76. Maybe you make the case he could have worked a little bit more efficiently. Only threw 31 balls against 64 strikes. Again, we're splitting hairs at this point. Either way, a fantastic outing there by Karl Kaufman. Major league pitchers would be proud of a start like that. You only give up 3 hits and a run in 7 innings. You strike out 11. That's fantastic. Perhaps major league teams should take notice.
Kaufman had 2 strikeouts in 4 of his 7 innings and had at least 1 in all 7 of them. So it's really, there's not a lot to pick apart in this start. Kaufman was flat out dominant today.
Yeah, and I know Penn State doesn't have the most dominant lineup you'll see in college baseball, but sometimes when you're on, you're on. You saw, of course, this lineup knocked around Ben Dragani like a speed bag. Really, first 4 or 5 innings of yesterday's game. So really, you can't ignore any lineup. This is an absolutely fantastic performance by Kaufman, and it's exactly what they needed. As they said, the Wolverines pitching staff gave up 7 runs yesterday, including it was 5 by the hot freshman Ben Dragani. Kaufman, good work there. Come in, keep it tight, calm down, and that's good for this pitching staff's confidence. And I think really it might be good for Dragani too to see that level of dominance, restore some of his confidence a little bit, feel a little bit better, and he can come out and pitch better next time he's out.
So we're going to see a pinch hitter here for Jonathan Engelman. His day is done. A 2-for-3 performance with 3 runs scored, an RBI, a stolen base, and a walk. Dominic Clementi will be the pinch hitter. The first pitch from Dees to Clementi is swung on and missed for strike 1.
And I think you'll probably see a fair amount of that, fair amount of substitutions by Eric Bakich in these last few innings. Obviously, the game is reasonably in hand, 14-1 lead. So you probably see some substitutes. You probably see Joe Pace in to fill in for Christian Bullock. Maybe see Chavez come in behind the plate. So it'll be interesting to see where Eric Bakich goes from here, but there's no penalty here for getting some of your deeper players some experience.
So the 1-1 pitch to Clementi is outside for ball 2. Count now 2-1 on him. Clementi this season a .338 hitter. He's hit very well in his pinch hitting appearances. Takes low and inside for ball 3. Count now at 3-1. We have some defensive changes as well. Joe Weisenseal, as I mentioned, is going to move to shortstop as Conlon Hughes comes in to second base. And Clemente lines that one into right field for his first hit of the day.
Well, the emergence of Jonathan Engelman really has been great for all, the possible exception of Clemente. He's kind of been relegated to a bench role with Engelman providing the defense and the power from center field. But Clemente himself still a solid hitter, also a plus 300 hitter. Not often you could take out your best hitter and his backup is still hitting nearly 340. Actually, his average is now above 340 with that hit. And really, Clemente, if you're Clemente, that's the best you can do. You come in, you get your hits, maybe you earn yourself some playing time in the future. Maybe try him out at one of the corners.
So Jesse Franklin now at the plate. He has 2 strikeouts and 2 hits today, 4 RBI, courtesy of a home run and an RBI single in the first. Takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike 1, a fastball. And we've also got a new catcher for the Penn State Nittany Lions, Derek Orndorff, replacing Ryan Sloniger behind the dish. The 0-1 is check swing foul down the third base line, and the count quickly 0-2 on Franklin.
Well, similarly on Penn State, the other side, this is really the definition of a low leverage situation for both sides. You can also just play some of your deeper guys, get some experience. Sloniger really has had a good series, but so you're putting in Orndorff, get him some game time in the event that his time becomes needed later in the season.
Franklin goes down on strikes there. D's first strikeout of the day. And it'll be the third baseman, Blake Nelson, up to the plate. He has 2 RBIs today, 9 in the series, 1 for 4 with a single in the 6th inning.
Well, the Wolverines hit it really in for 19 with runners on base, including 8 and 13 with runners in scoring position, and 7 for 13 with 2 outs to go. That's really astonishing for them, and see if Blake Nelson can continue that.
So 1 out here for Nelson with a runner on first base. Takes the first pitch, a fastball out way for ball 1. Nelson in the series 7-4-14. Hitting a robust 500 against Penn State this weekend. Takes the 1-0 low for ball 2. That one was in the dirt. So Michigan leads it 14-1 here at Ray Fisher Stadium in the bottom of the 7th. Runner on first, 1 out. Bailey Deese is working on Blake Nelson at the dish. Deese comes set at the waist, working from the middle of the rubber, and fires a curveball taken on the outside corner for strike 1.
Yeah, that's obviously a curveball. A lot of these Michigan hitters, not just Jesse Franklin, a lot of them really struggled with the breaking ball so far this series, and that was an excellently placed curveball. And froze Nelson, not a whole lot you can do.
Deese checks on Clemente at first base. Deese now looking in, getting his sign from the new catcher, Derek Orndorff. Comes set and fires the 2-1 pitch low for ball 3.
Good discipline right there by Nelson. Still excellent to see. Obviously, it's very easy to just kind of mail it in at this stage in the game for either side. Just kind of swing at everything, go for power, just get this game over with. But really, good job by these players maintaining their discipline.
Blake Nelson takes low for ball 4. That's his 12th walk of the season, and his walk rate now sitting well above 12%. He's done a fantastic job this season of getting on base. OBP now over 400.
Yes, excellent work right there by Nelson. I believe now he is second on the team in walks. Sorry, my mistake. That is instead Miles Lewis. But still up to 12 walks on the season. And it looks like Jordan Wogu will also be shown the door. His day is done. And in comes Jimmy Kerr as a substitute.
So Jimmy Kerr will see his second action of the weekend. Got a pinch hit appearance in Friday's blowout win. And we'll have another pinch hit appearance in today's what will hopefully be a blowout win. At this point, nothing a foregone conclusion, but the Wolverines up by 13 with 2 more innings left for Penn State as Kerr takes a breaking pitch over for strike 1. Kerr this season hitting 108, just 4 for 37 with 5 walks and 8 strikeouts. He's had a rough go with things at the dish this season. Deese, his 0-1 is swung on and missed for strike 2.
Well, again, he's one of those players. Again, this is only his 38th at-bat on the season. Obviously, as I said, with limited at-bats, it's hard to get yourself into that rhythm. But I will say 5 walks is actually fairly impressive. But yeah, he's in a tough position as a deep player.
The 0-2 is taking a fastball outside for ball 1, so Kerr will get to see another pitch with 1 out and runners on first and second here in the bottom of the 7th. Deese working somewhat slowly compared to the other Penn State pitchers we've seen today.
Well, so far it appears to be working out for him.
Perhaps giving the Michigan hitters a little change of pace that they're not used to. Comes set at the belt. The 1-2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3. Kerr goes down on strikes for the 9th time this season, and that'll bring up number 0, Joe Donovan, to pinch hit for for Miles Lewis.
Yep.
Donovan seeing his first action today.
That's his third sub. That's Eric Beckich's third substitute of the inning and 3rd and 4 batters. Good move there. Low leverage situation. Get some of your players in there. I know it's shall we say it's a little bit. It feels good to say, no, you fight to the end. You keep fighting. You never let off the gas. But at some point, you have to give your other players on the team some experience. That'll help you down the road.
So everybody playing straight up here with 2 outs. Deese working on Donovan. His first pitch is taken outside for ball 1. Joe Donovan on the season, a .227 hitter with a .320 OBP and .273 slugging percentage. And what that tells you is that he hits a lot of singles.
Yeah, well, he has even less at bats than Kerr. This is only his 23rd. He has scored 5 runs though.
Deese, the right-hander, fires to Donovan, the right-hander, and Donovan fouls this one back. That hits off the top of the press box. Everyone's okay, though.
Nearly took out our WCBN and Michigan Daily correspondent, Mr. Teo Mackey.
Yeah, he's doing okay, though, over there. Count now 1-1 with 2 out here. In the bottom of the 7th, Joe Donovan, the freshman, getting what has been a rare at-bat for him this year. This is just his 23rd of the season. Donovan fouls this one down the first base line into the parking lot.
Oh, I just missed a Hummer.
Yeah, that was a close call. So Michigan has subbed out 3 players in this half inning, and if I had to guess, we're going to see a couple more in the top half defensively. Jimmy Kerr coming in, hitting for Jordan Wogu. My guess is that he's going to play either first or third. Blake Nelson will take the other corner, and then Franklin will move to the outfield. The 1-2, taken outside by Donovan. Count even at 2 balls and 2 strikes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. A lot of MLB action today. Scary moment in Colorado as Chris Bryant exiting the game after being hit in the helmet. Never something you want to see, especially from a talent like Chris Bryant.
Yeah, it's something you never want to see in a baseball game. Obviously, head injuries. We're having a lot of conversations about this, of course, especially concerning the game of football. These last few years with baseball, it's important. You've got to be very careful, especially with the head. It's something extremely scary yesterday. Jordan Farquhar suffering a brain hemorrhage, and you can never be too safe with the head.
So the 3-2, the payoff pitch. Donovan grounds this one down to third. Kleeman comes up with it, fires onto first for out number 3. So Michigan, 1 hit, 1 walk, but doesn't get any runs across in the inning. No errors for Penn State, and Michigan leaves 2 on base at the end of 7. It's Michigan 14, Penn State 1 on WCBN Sports Radio. I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg, and we head to the top of the 8th here at Michigan. We have a final score in that Illinois game. They end up falling to Grand Canyon by a score of 5-2. And Maryland falling to Purdue by a score of 7-6 in College Park. We'll keep you updated on the rest of the Big Ten as those scores go final. Looks like we're going to get a new pitcher here for Michigan. It'll be Troy Miller coming in for his first action of the weekend.
Yes, Troy Miller, obviously, as we said, was going to be called into yesterday's game. Had the game continued beyond the 11th inning, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately.
Unfortunately for him.
Well, even this team won. But if he's very cynical, which I'd assume he isn't, it would be good for him. It would be unfortunate for him. But Jack Blomgren ensured that he did not have to come out and put some work in. But now here he is in the 8th inning, try and keep this 13-run lead to preserve the win for Karl Kaufman.
And Karl Kaufman, his day is officially done now. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run allowed, 1 walk, and a whopping 11 strikeouts for Kaufman. He has just been stellar this season.
That's impressive, especially like in the middle of the game, innings 3 through 6, when the Wolverines piled on 11 runs in that span. He just kept racking up strikeouts. He was absolutely dealing, rolling through those innings very quickly, very efficiently. Penn State had no idea what they were doing.
And Karl Kaufman, the sophomore, looking to improve his draft stock before next year, his junior season. Pitching fantastically this season, his ERA all the way down to a stellar mark of 2.76. If you include his 11 strikeouts today, he's got 54 in just 49 innings pitched as compared to 18 walks. And he's been stellar here in Big Ten play really the entire season for Michigan. He'll look to keep that rolling the rest of the season, and then this summer he'll be pitching for the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox on Cape Cod, along with teammate Tommy Henry, as they'll go to work and try to impress some scouts out in Massachusetts.
Really, the Wolverines have been white hot over really the last month and a half now, and it's really been carried, as you said, by the starting rotation. Kaufman, Dragani, Tommy Henry, and really that's continued.
So Troy Miller, who stands at 6'4", works from the third base side of the rubber and has a very, very violent delivery, but gets the first pitch across for strike 1. Working from the third base side of the rubber, Miller on the season, an ERA of 4.37, fires that one in the dirt for ball 1.
Well, that delivery, a lot of it is from his arm, travels his arm very quickly. Again, when your arm's moving that fast, it can be difficult for hitters to see it.
So Akeo Thomas actually done for the day. He's going to take a seat in favor of Joe Pace, who will go to left field. Christian Bullock moves to center, Dominic Clementi in left, Jimmy Kerr to second. Joe Donovan will be the designated hitter. So we've got some wholesale changes going on here as Joe Weisenseal fouls this pitch down the third base line, and the count now 1-2. So the only starters still in the game for Michigan, Blake Nelson, Jack Blomgren, Jesse Franklin.
Christian Bullock is still in there, but he's not playing in right anymore.
You're right. He's in center field. That's my bad. Those are the only 3 folks at their original positions. As this one is fouled down the third base line by Weisenseal, and we'll do it again. Miller's looked good this season with his strikeout stuff, 23 Ks in just 22 2/3 innings pitched. But he's had some trouble with command, induces a ground ball there. Blomgren eats it up at short, fires on to Franklin at first, and gets the first out of the inning.
Well, Troy Miller doesn't really have quite the ERA of some of these other arms in the Wolverines bullpen. He has an ERA of 4.37, and compared to, Jeff Criswell and Will Tribuker, I believe both have ERAs below 2. But still, he's thrown 22 innings. Yeah, as you said, struggles with command. 23 strikeouts only against 15 walks, and really this is really a good place for him to kind of get to pad those stats to really improve his numbers on the season.
So he will do it against Jordan Bowersox here. Bowersox 1 for 3 today with a single in the first, a strikeout in the 6th, and a ground out to shortstop in the 3rd. Count even here at 1-1 on Bowersox after the strike by Miller. Bowersox on the season, the .273 hitter with a .311 OBP. Miller working from the third base side of the rubber. Fires the 1-1 a little low for ball 2. And Nick, that's my bad. Harrison Salter still behind the dish for Michigan. choosing not to throw Marcus Chavez in there just yet. This one fouled back to the screen. And just like that, it's 2-2 on the leadoff hitter for Penn State, Jordan Bowersox, in his 4th plate appearance today.
Yeah, Bowersox contributed one of only 3 Nittany Lions hits today. Has played excellent defense in center field today.
And he hits this one. Blomgren eats it up on the backhand, fires onto first, and gets Bowersox. A nice play there in the hole by Blomgren. And 2 up, 2 down for Miller. He'll now go up against Derek Orndorff, the catcher.
There's Blomgren flashing his glove yet again. Excellent play there, deep in the gap. Comes out, demonstrates excellent arm strength. Perhaps something you wouldn't really expect in a player, again, of his size. Not a very large man, but still generates some excellent speed on that ball across the bag, and as a result, now there's 2 outs.
So we'll see Derek Orndorff for the first time today. Swings and misses at Miller's first offering. Count 0-1 on him.
Orndorff really wanted that one.
Yeah, Orndorff pinch hit on Friday, went 0 for 2 with a run scored. He came around in that 9th inning and then pinch ran yesterday, but no at-bats officially. He takes high and away for ball 1, the count now even at 1-1. 2 out here in the top of the 8th inning. Penn State 1, Michigan 14. The outfield playing pretty much straight away and the infield straight up as well. Miller's 1-1. Swung on and missed for strike 2, and Miller now 1 pitch away from what would be a 1-2-3 inning for Miller. It would be Michigan's 5th of the day. The 1-2, a curveball, and nothing you can do. But look at that, a great pitch from Miller, but doesn't get the call from Sal Giacomantonio, the home plate umpire.
That one's a little bit high, but I agree. Fantastic pitch, couple inches lower. That's a called 3rd strike.
So Miller's 2-2. Another curveball taken, and my guess is that was a little high as well. But nothing doing for Miller, so a full count here with 2 outs to Derek Orndorff. Connor Kleeman waiting in the on-deck circle. The payoff pitch from Miller. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
That was a heater.
Yeah, Miller really able to dial it up there. He retires Penn State in order. No runs, no hits, nobody left, and no errors at the end of 7.5. It's Michigan 14, Penn State 1. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio. I'm Max Brill alongside Nick Hornberg. And what are you looking for here as Michigan will now presumably empty out their bench, get some of the bench hitters more involved?
I would like to see hitters working on their play test, but obviously, generally, substitutes can sometimes come on. They're a little bit impulsive. They don't really see pitches. All they're thinking about is getting hits. Just got to relax, take your pitches, pick your spots, and really that last fastball by Troy Miller, obviously I'm just guessing because we really need a gun here at Ray Fisher Stadium, but I'd say mid-90s easily.
Yeah, he's really able to dial it up there. Him and Jeff Criswell able to throw the most heat out of any pitchers on this team, and I know for a fact that Criswell sits about 93, can get it up there to 94, 95 on a good day, and I haven't clocked Miller, but he looks just as fast as Criswell. Perhaps it's the violent delivery that helps.
Yeah, it's that violent delivery. So use your arms, kind of use it like a pendulum, and you got to have really strong arms to be able to do that. And looks like Troy Miller has that.
So we're gonna have some defensive substitutions, and we're gonna have a new pitcher for Penn State.
Yes,
it'll be Verbitsky, who gave up the walk-off to Jack Blomgren in yesterday's competition. Blomgren due up second, so we'll see the rematch there. Kyle Verbitsky, the right-hander.
Well, Verbitsky's in a little bit of a better spot this time because there's no runner on third base. Well, provided Harrison Salter doesn't triple.
Yeah, Salter does have 1 triple this season. So, catcher showing off a little bit of speed. That was in the Lipscomb series, if I'm not mistaken. But Kyle Verbitsky, the right-handed freshman, standing at an imposing 6'6", 235 pounds from Media, Pennsylvania. This season, he's got a 7.84 ERA, 2.40 WHIP, and some wholesale defensive changes for this Penn State Nittany Lions defensive alignment. Chris Kremer goes to third base, Braxton Gevidoni in to right field, and Mason Nadeau into left for Connor Kleeman. So Connor Kleeman will avoid the golden sombrero. He was 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts, but now substituted out, won't get the chance for 4. First pitch to Salters fouled back. Verbitsky is the 5th pitcher used for Penn State, and this one not able to be squeezed by the catcher Orndorff.
That was a little inside, nearly hit Salter on the elbow.
It's ball 1, so the count now moves to 1-1. Salter on the day, 1 for 3 with a walk, a single, 2 runs scored, and 2 ribbies. Salter asks for time, steps out, and now hops back in. Verbitsky gets the swing and miss from Salter on the 1-1. A great pitch there from him. And you can see him using that 6-6 frame to generate some velocity.
Yeah, with this score, obviously, Rob Cooper's really just got to be looking at small positives. Look at Verbitsky. If he can control that fastball, get some real velocity behind it, then you can leave with at least a little bit of positivity.
And this one driven into left field, but Nadeau makes the catch in left, and Salter retired for the 3rd time today. He's flown out now to left, center, and right, and all the at-bats he's made outs, and it'll be Jack Blomgren, yesterday's hero, facing off for the 2nd time in the series against Kyle Verbitsky.
Well, that's another thing good for Rob Cooper to see. Mason Nadeau obviously committing dropping a fly ball that turned out to be very important in the 8th inning of yesterday's game. Ran out there, confidently made that catch.
So Blomgren takes the first pitch on the outside corner for strike 1. 0-1 is the count on him with 1 out, nobody aboard for the Wolverines. Blomgren swings and misses at strike 2, so quickly ahead 0-2 on Blomgren, who was yesterday's villain, if you're looking at it from Verbitsky's perspective. The 0-2 to Blomgren. High for ball 1.
Yeah, Blomgren really, even though his average isn't quite where he would hope it to be, I've really been impressed with his plate discipline over the last few games.
The 1-2 to Blomgren is taken high once again for ball 2, and that's the plate discipline you were talking about there, Nick.
Yep, he took 1 walk yesterday, 1 walk today. That's the reason why he, despite only having a 222 average, he has an OBP of about 370, 369 if we're being exact.
And Blomgren skies this one out to center field, but Bowersox ranges under it to his right and hauls that one in for out number 2. So we will get, looks like
Joe Pace.
It should be Joe Pace. Looks like he's pine tarring up his bat over there near the dugout. Hasn't walked up to the dish yet. Pace yesterday got on base for the first time in his Michigan career with a walk. Still searching for that first hit, and he'll try to do it against Kyle Verbitsky here.
Yeah, of course it's only his 5th at-bat of the season. Excuse me, it's his 6th. And it's one of those things where with a sample size that low, you're just looking for a productive at-bat. Work the count full, maybe get a hit, but...
And he takes the first pitch in the dirt, the breaking pitch for ball 1.
Get his pitch count up, get Verbitsky's pitch count up, possibly try and draw a walk, foul some pitches off, maybe get a hit.
And swings and misses at the second pitch from Verbitsky, so the count evened up at 1-1. And Pace has just looked a little overmatched this season as far as hitting goes. We've seen him as a defensive replacement a handful this season, but he's got 3 strikeouts in 5 plate appearances. The 1-1 taken high for ball 2. The count now 2-1 here with 2 out, nobody on.
Yeah, I think that problem would solve itself if he gets with a little bit more game experience, but obviously he's not going to break into that outfield right now, which has really become the hitting strength of this team with Wogu, Engelman, and Bullock.
And Clemente on some days.
Clemente. But I think really the high strikeout rate is really just a consequence of he hasn't really gotten up to bat a whole lot.
The 3-1. Taken on the outside corner, a fastball for strike 2. So the count runs full with 2 out here to Joe Pace. Penn State looking for just their second 1-2-3 inning of the day. Payoff pitch to Pace. This one is roped into right center field. Joe Pace has his first hit as a Michigan Wolverine, and this one's going to roll all the way to the wall. Pace rounding second. He's going to go for 3, and he puts on the brakes hard there at second base.
Another good cutoff throw there by Jordan Bowersox, but hey, we have reverse jinxed yet another player.
So Joe Pace in safely at second base with his first hit as a Michigan Wolverine, and they're going to save that baseball for Joe Pace to take home after this one.
Yeah, that's good. That's good to see.
Chris Bullock still looking for his first hit of the day, the only Wolverine starter without a hit today.
And still he's come across the plate twice.
Yeah, 2 runs scored in this game, 7 in the series, courtesy of 2 walks today. Verbitsky comes set and fires the breaking pitch. That one's low for ball 1. Joe Pace taking a pretty large lead over there at second base. Nobody holding him on. Obviously won't be stealing up by 13. This one gets behind the catcher, Orndorff. Not able to glove it, so Pace will move up to third on the passed ball.
Yeah, that one's a little bit high. And Joe Pace, obviously in defense, obviously defensive specialist in the outfield, has speed and good awareness there to that pitch high. He sees that pitch, goes over the catcher. Just take your base.
So 2-0 count here to Bullock, looking still for his first hit of the day. The 2-0, this one is grounded right down to first. Curtis Robinson will take it himself, and it's a 1-2-3-4 inning for the Penn State Nittany Lions. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on base for the Wolverines. At the end of 8, it's Michigan 14, Penn State 1. You're listening to WCBN Sports Radio's coverage of Michigan Wolverines baseball. Max Brill joined by Nick Hornberg, and looks as though Troy Miller is going to get another inning of work here.
Yeah, it's probably good. As I said, low leverage situation. Get him some innings. He needs he needs some experience. Obviously, he's a junior, so he has a fair bit of experience. But I would just let him stay in a little bit longer. He looked great last inning. Get his confidence up, and just carry on with that.
And actually, we will get a new relief pitcher here. It's going to be Angelo Smith, looks like. That is Angelo Smith out there, the enigmatic young left-hander.
Yep. As I said before, Angelo Smith, a little bit like Miller with a delivery that largely resides in the arm. Obviously, Miller's a little bit more violent. Smith really comes through the hips and gives you kind of a low sidearm. Obviously not a submariner, but definitely gets that arm well and out there, which can be a challenge. There's a little bit of challenge for him in his one appearance yesterday was getting the ball to come back inside. But we'll see if this is another guy who could use some confidence. We'll see what he does.
And Smith came on in relief in Friday's blowout win. This season he's been stellar. He's got a .9 ERA. In Friday's competition, he pitched for, or he did not. He came on yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. Actually,
yes, he only faced one batter. And he walked him.
That lefty-on-lefty matchup we saw Coach Bakich utilizing yesterday. But it looks like this will be the full inning for Smith, and we're going to get a defensive realignment of sorts. Joe Pace in center, Christian Bullock to right, and Clemente to left. So it was from left to right, Pace, Bullock, Clemente last time, and now it's going to be Clemente, Pace, Bullock. So shuffling things around here in the Michigan outfield. Coach Bakich wanting to see all the looks he can in this limited time left in this 14-1 game here in the 9th inning. It'll be Mason Nadeau leading off for the Nittany Lions. Takes the first pitch, low for ball 1. Smith working from the full windup from the third base side of the rubber. Fires this one in there, and it's shot all the way down the third baseline, foul, and lands on the rooftop of that indoor facility the Michigan Wolverines have there near their bullpen. We saw Nadeau start on on Friday and Saturday. A costly error in left field in yesterday's game, perhaps causing him to head to the bench today.
Yeah, it's perhaps the cause, and perhaps I believe that's also the reason why he was taken off in that ninth inning, a decision that also be worked out. In came Braxton Giovanni and tied the game up.
And Nadeau lines this one down the third baseline, foul, so the count 2-2 on him. Angelo Smith has 9 strikeouts in 10 innings pitched, so we'll see if he can add another one here. Also 6 walks, so another pitcher who's kind of struggled a little with command this season. Gets a chopper to the right side. And Nadeau, the speedster, is retired.
Yep, good right there. Now only 2 outs to go before the end of this game. Angelo Smith looking a little bit better with his command today in his one batter than he did yesterday.
So Angelo Smith now will have to retire Parker Hendershot, who's been the most dangerous hitter for Penn State in this series. Today, Hendershot is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts, but on the series, 4 for 10 with 4 walks and 4 RBI. This one lined right back up the middle. That's going to get into center field. So Hendershot picks up his first hit of the day, and he's been kind of the bane of this Michigan pitching staff's existence so far in this series.
He's been the bane of a lot of teams. Obviously, even though he's only had I believe that was only his 59th at bat. Really tough right there, and Angelo Smith, only 5'10", isn't going to be able to reach up and make that play. If that's Miller or Chris Will, even Kaufman up there, perhaps he makes that play, but at that moment, Smith's height working against him.
And Angelo Smith bounces this one to the catcher Salter, so Hendershot will head down to second base, and a runner now in scoring position for the 5-hitter Curtis Robinson. First baseman, he's 0 for 2 with a walk today, struck out and grounded out to the pitcher and second baseman in that weird 1-4-3 put out in the 7th inning. Count 1-0 here on Robinson. Smith working from the stretch now. Comes set at the chest. Looking for an outside pitch right here. And a fastball low for ball 2. Scored a wild pitch on Angelo Smith to send Hendershot down to second base. Smith fires the 2-0, gets a ground out to the second baseman, Kerr, who picks it up and can't make the throw. It actually gets past the first baseman, Franklin, and all the way to the Penn State dugout. So Hendershot will come around on the error by Kerr.
Yeah, Kerr was in good position, made a good slide to grab that ball. Unfortunately, dropped it coming up. And once he picked it up, I think he kind of rushed that throw, threw it over Franklin's head. And the result is now it is 14-2.
So 14-2. Penn State able to pick up a safety. Braxton Giovanni now up to the dish, who had the home run in yesterday's game, a double today, and came around to score one of the 2 Penn State runs in this competition. Angelo Smith fires the first pitch to him. It's fouled back to the screen. Count 0-1. So Curtis Robinson standing out there on first base, not going to get credit for the RBI. It's going to be an unearned run. And that Kerr's made 2 plays ranging to his right in this inning. One of them went perfectly fine, able to get the speedy Nadeau, and then the other one, not so much.
Yeah, that's another thing. Get some of these substitutes in, get them some time in the field, get their blood flowing a little bit, and mistakes will sometimes happen, so I'm not horribly concerned.
So the count 2-1 here after the ball high by Smith. Smith, trying to limit the damage here, has lowered his ERA to .87 and allowed 1 run to score, unearned, of course. Curveball taken on the outside corner for strike 2, so the count now even up at 2-2 with 1 out and a runner on first base for Braxton Giovanni.
That's an excellent pitch right there. Curveball on the outside half. Froze Giovanni. He had no idea what he was doing. And really, I think what it would be most helpful to Angelo Smith is a double play ball right now.
And the curveball freezes Giovanni. He goes down looking on the curveball, and that's 2 outs.
All right, Smith now 1 away from the full inning and wrapping up the game. Could really use this inning, get some confidence up. Maybe his confidence took a little bit of a knock when that run scored, even though I wouldn't really say that's his fault. But now see what he can do against Chris Kramer.
Kramer had a double in his last plate appearance today, an RBI double at that. The first pitch, a strike. Angelo Smith comes set at the chest and fires the 0-1. Swung on and missed for strike 2, and the Wolverines now are 1 strike away from the weekend sweep. The crowd on their feet here at Ray Fisher Stadium.
Yep, good crowd here at Ray Fisher Stadium, getting excited.
Smith comes set. The 0-2. Grounded down to third base, foul.
And
So
the game
we'll do it
continues
again.
for another minute.
Smith looking to retire Chris Kremer, who has moved from right field to third base. He's today 1-for-3 with a double and an RBI. Looking to keep the line moving for Penn State here as they trail it 14-2. Smith. His fastball is taken a little high for ball 1.
Oh, you could hear it. The crowd
The
wanted
crowd
that
didn't
one.
like that call, Nick.
Crowd wanted that.
I mean, you can't blame him. It was a good pitch, but certainly a little high. And the home plate umpire, Sal Giacomantonio, is going to need a better pitch than that. 1-2, and this one fouled back, so we'll do it again. Kremer doing a good job of staying in there.
Yeah, Kremer, that's something you don't want to be as a batter. You don't want to be the last out of a game. And I think Kremer realizes that, and he really doesn't want to be that last out.
The 1-2 swung on and missed, strike 3. The Michigan Wolverines pick up their 20th consecutive victory and complete the weekend sweep over Penn State.
Well, obviously the record is 24, and it'll be a disappointment if they don't make that. But, you know, who wins 20 games in a row?
Not a whole lot of teams, Nick.
Exactly, not a whole lot of teams. That's a very rare occurrence. Let's say if it ends at 20, you cannot. That can't take anything away from what this team has accomplished. This is absolutely fantastic, and of course that was on the heels of really in college baseball a gut punch of all gut punches, a loss to Lawrence Tech. No disrespect to them, they played a great game, but just to come off of that and win 20 games, I don't know what Eric Bakich has said to this team in that time, but it has worked. They have responded. Excellent 2 months of baseball.
Whatever Coach Bakich said to them after that loss to Lawrence Tech needs to go up in the Michigan Hall of Fame because it's been the catalyst for one of the most impressive winning streaks in program history. Today, the final score, Michigan Wolverines 4, Penn State Nittany Lions 2. The line score for you, Michigan 14 runs on 14 hits, 2 errors and 9 left on base. Penn State 2 runs, 4 hits, 5 errors and 5 left on base. The winning pitcher in today's contest is Carl Kaufman, who improves to 5-2. And Taylor Lehman takes the loss, falling to 2-6. Michigan now sitting at a pristine 11-0 against Big Ten competition. They improved their season record to 24-11. Penn State falls to 8-25 and 1-14 in conference play.
Yeah, absolutely. They continue. I believe it's Iowa this week coming up. Of course, that's going to be a little bit harder than they're used to. Michigan in this month and a half, as impressive it is, they've largely won against competition. In lower conferences out of conference games against lower conferences and against Big Ten teams who haven't necessarily been the greatest. Be interesting to see what they make of this Iowa team and the teams that come afterwards.
So the players of the game for Michigan today, undoubtedly Carl Kaufman has to be one of them. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, and 11 strikeouts.
Absolutely, that's something. As you said, he's going to pitch over the summer in Cape Cod, along with Tommy Henry. That's something that's the kind of player who scouts like to see. Workhorse pitchers can go 7 innings. You know, not every major league pitcher can go 7 innings anymore. I mean, that's obvious. That's a big deal, and that's something that people are going to like, and especially if he keeps this up for the rest of the season and continues in Cape Cod.
Absolutely, Nick. And on the offensive side, the Wolverines put 14 runs across. Jesse Franklin, a great day, hit a home run, 2 for 5 with 2 runs, 4 RBI. Jordan Wogu, 2 for 2 with 2 runs, 2 RBI. Jonathan Engelman, 2 for 3 with 3 runs and an RBI. The middle of this lineup's been doing it all over this win streak.
Well, because I'm a dumb college kid with no qualifications, I can't vote for Big Ten Freshman of the Year. But if I could, I would absolutely vote for Jesse Franklin. 322 average, 8 home runs. That's absolutely fantastic. Of course, hitting and playing in Ray Fisher Stadium. That's a lot kinder to left-handed, to right-handed power hitters than lefties with that short left field wall. But so far, excellent work this season by Franklin. He along with Jordan Wogu and Ben Dragani, are really going to be are going to be forces of nature coming in this team in the future.
And you can't forget Jeff Criswell out there in the bullpen has been a stud. So, Nick, as the kids run the bases here, as is customary on Sunday afternoons, any last thoughts on today's win?
Well, if it's 20, it's up to 20. They've stayed the course, and bring on Iowa.
So once again, Michigan takes their 20th in a row with the weekend sweep over Penn State by a score of 14-2. Carl Kaufman coming home with the win, improves to 5-2, and Taylor Lehman falls to 2-6 for Penn State. For everyone here at WCBN Sports Radio, I'm Max Brill, joined by Nick Hornberg. Adam Rich was with us earlier today. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I will leave you with a good afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and go Blue.